Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. My name is Tanya and welcome to tonight's live. If you are new to the channel, hi, hello, and welcome. And if you're watching on a replay, well, welcome to the channel, hashtag replay. But if you're coming back for yet another round, welcome back, Titans. It's good to see everybody in the chat. It's good to have a nice little full chat when you come in. Can't beat that. You can't beat that. I am streaming on my other channel, Unfiltered with Tanya, and then I'm also streaming over on Twitter. So if you're in any of those places and you want to chat with the main chat, we're over on Titanium Built on YouTube. So all kinds of places to watch it. So have you guys been watching the Bullhorn Betty live that she's doing right now with Seth and Tony? Because, well, y'all, I had a whole something different planned, and I was watching that, and it's a bunch of bull crap. Like, she's not catching it or something, because normally Betty will call it out, but it's every other sentence. I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on? So hey, Cheryl, hey Jan, I was just thinking of something when you said different testimony. Today, I cried. They did that Chad Daybell verdict came in today, and oh my lordy, I cried over that. Hey Ladybug, hey Mary Beth, hey Cheryl, hey Jan, welcome in everybody. I'm gonna try to go down to the bottom here. Hey Tracy, welcome in. If I miss you, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna kind of get to the bottom. Mary Beth's here. Breaking news, Aries said. Aries always has the breaking news. Lenora. Otto, there you are. Hey, Harley girl, welcome in. West Virginia Holler girl. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Tammy. Tony better leave JLR alone. Yeah, he better. I watched JLR's live today, too. I've never watched a live from JLR before, but I did today. I've watched in the beginning when he says, come on in. Hi, hello, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Like, I've seen that part, but I never watched the whole thing. And yeah, Tony's going after him. I heard the tape and I was like, I've heard it before. Like I heard it live, but I don't know why it infuriated me more today than it did the first time I heard it. But man, it was epic. When Tylee and JJ's family came outside, I lost it. I lost it before they even came to the podium. I was crying. And I just realized I forgot my rings and my earrings, but that's okay. That's okay. Ashley has her nephew there. That's great. Well, we're going to go ahead. We'll get into tonight's case coverage. We're going to review Betty's live. She's doing a pretty good job. I've got to say that. I got to give her. She's asking really good questions. She was asking really good questions when I was watching. She's asking questions. She's not yelling tonight, which is nice. Something different from her. And I don't know. The questions she's asking, I mean, I think she was doing a pretty good job. Wasn't doing too bad. I love that part too, Tammy, when come on in, come on. He sounds like boyish, you know? JLR's got something up his sleeves. Oh, he always does. He always does. He always does. Well, I didn't even know that Magnolia was his girlfriend until last night. I'm like, who's Magnolia? His cat? I thought that was his cat. Good golly. Good golly. So I was trying to wait to see when they were done, but I'm about to just do it now because they're going to be on here for a while. So he is just saying some out of pocket things. I was going to write them down and I was like, you know what? No, we're just going to go over and we're just going to watch. Let me check something really quick before I do that. I want you guys. Okay. So, and I have this rant, his little FU rant he did, Seth, I have this clipped. So I'm going to play it for you sometime within the live because it goes with it, believe you me. But before we get started with all of that, I do want to say a little bit about who we're going to be talking about tonight, even though mostly tonight we're not going to really talk about Sebastian, which is sad because, you know, when Tony and Seth are on a panel, I don't know, we just don't hear a lot. I've heard he's unique. Tonight, I heard what Sebastian was passionate, what his favorite thing was to do and his least favorite thing was to do, according to his dad. And if that is true, then I don't know. It wasn't a good answer. So Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is who we're talking about. 15 years old. He went missing out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. He was last seen on February 26, 2024. Been missing over 90 days now. In the area of Stafford Court in Hendersonville. He's 5'5", blondish brown hair, I would say. Brown eyes. 120 pounds roughly. Give or take a few pounds, I'd say. He's tall and lean. For his age. But yeah, he's adorable. Wears glasses and not that it matters. I mean, not that this, you know, solidifies what he is and what makes him, but he is autistic and he does have a chromosome deletion syndrome. So just wanted to make sure everyone does know that because, you know, and he doesn't like soda. Doesn't like soda pop, unlike me. So I'm trying to see if have like Betty be done, but she's not going to be. So we're just going to go over to Betty's. I'm going to stop this for commentation. So I'm going to commentate around this. And so that's why it's going to be fair use, but I'm going to be pausing it. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff because some of it's just like, what? What? He was contradicting himself. And I don't know if anybody else caught it. So I was like, oh, we got to go over this. So thank you guys all for being here tonight. Let me go over here. Oh, now Tony's not on the screen. Where'd he go? Okay. I'm going to go back. And then I'm going to duplicate the page so I can see when they're done. And I'm going to put her, link in the chat. And then this one here. Okay, so this is when they first start talking. Seth Rogers, I'm sorry, and Bullhorn Betty. Tony Mathis is going to come up in just a minute. He's going to come up and he just sits there pretty much the whole time. Seth is going to say some stuff out of pocket. He always does. He always does. Some of the things he says, I'm questioning my sanity now, but he just gives us a lot more information. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. You're going to hear a lot tonight. You're going to be like, what the hell? So this is Bullhorn Betty. If you don't know her, her name's Bullhorn Betty. She's a YouTube creator. This is the link for her video here. So, let me unmute her.
If you can't answer something,
and I'm going to fast forward it a little bit, or not fast forward. I'm just going to play it a little faster.
I'm not at liberty to say, something along those lines. I don't want to push too hard, but I do want to find out some much wanted questions from, myself as well as our audience. So thank you, Seth.
Well, thank you, Ladybug. Oh, you've been a member 5 months.
I know that this has been a very challenging time for you. And I really honestly can't imagine what you are going through. Do you want to talk a little bit about, before we get started, about, just how things have been progressing in the case, just maybe some updates or anything like that, and then we'll get started?
What updates?
Oh, no, that's it too. Right. Gotcha.
What updates?
Well,
he said.
This is what I'd first like to do. I kind of want to explore your.
I'm wondering if the investigators have updates, or if they have if they're on to something right now and we just don't know about it because of people in this case. When they get information, they let it out, or they tell YouTubers.
Unique relationship with Sebastian.
I will say YouTubers won one today, though. We did.
We
did win one today.
He was born. You were kind of dad. You were home with him. Explain how you guys learned about his disabilities and ailments. Was it right away? Was it?
Read a lot of books before, she was pregnant for 9 months. So read a lot of books. I've never been a parent before. Apprehensive, must devour information and knowledge to try to, be prepared for what's going to happen. And
devour knowledge. He wants
first thing that I kind of realized is that my son was, he'd be awake for 16, 18 hours a day as an infant. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, that's not what the books say.
Yeah, usually babies sleep.
The books say he should be sleeping this long.
So he had sleeping problems as a very young baby.
Yeah. And it's just like he was awake.
I mean, every baby has sleeping problems, though, right? Like some babies don't sleep at all. Some babies like me, I slept through the whole night. My mom was like, "We thought something was wrong with you." There probably was something wrong with me. Probably still is. But he's saying Sebastian wasn't a good sleeper.
He was active. So
having a new baby and already being sleep deprived, that had to have been an interesting combination.
Well, I already have my own sleep issues as it is, especially back then. When Sebastian was born, I was working full time, going to school full time, and I was just okay. So I have a child, so I was trying to be a dad full time, and it was a lot.
What kind of challenges, did you guys have learning his disabilities?
Well, we found out about the chromosomal deletion syndrome at a very young age. Took him in to Jacksonville, and they told me and Katie needed parenting classes, and it was like, it's not parenting classes, it's sleep. Mm-hmm. There is no downtime. It's like, you don't understand, between work and my son, there's no time to sleep. It's not, I'll take a nap when he goes down, because he doesn't go down. Mm-hmm. I mean,
when was he
you're
working?
8-10 hours a day. You're taking care of your child that is active, functioning active, like crawling around. You know, it took him a while to walk, but he was always active. He's always been active.
What kind?
I don't get what we're supposed to get with that. I was active. I was so active. I ran out of the house butt naked one time because didn't want to come in from playing outside. I was like 5 years old. Kids were chasing me around.
Kind of accommodations did you guys have to make when
did what I
learning of his
did.
disability? Like, you know, other than the classes and stuff like that, what did the doctors say? What did you guys have to do?
Could be.
More reading. When he was born in 2008, like 8 people had it, 8 known cases. So there was really no information about it. Doctors were like, there's no money in researching this, so people haven't researched it. So it was, every day was a day, you know, as it comes, you figure it out and you do it.
How was it like when he was a baby, and how did you guys deal like with his sensory issues and other things? Like,
Hear
did
this.
you just have to try stuff?
It was, well, I like it quiet to begin with, so it's not really much of an issue on that one.
Did you hear that? Because when first time I heard that, I was like, what? She says, what did you guys have to do to accommodate for his sensory problems? Like the way that clothes feel, the way that taste is, like your food texture of your mouth, like in your mouth, things like that. I'm autistic. But he says, I like it quiet anyways. Like, what? I know that sensory can be your ears, but like, what? He had sensory more like his clothing, more like his, like that kind of stuff. He was okay around sounds. I mean, we've seen in pictures, like he was just bowling like the night before. He's like not that kind of like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm just like, what? Your kid was bowling the night before. I'm sure that he can do sounds. I'm sure it was not, well, I like it quiet. So what? No, you get your child into therapy if they have something like that.
But
yeah, let me replay
when he was
it.
young, it was, and you do it. Information about it. Doctors were like, there's no money in researching this, so people have.
And I don't get that either. There's no money in researching this, so we're not going to do that. No doctor on this planet is going to tell a patient that.
I researched it. So it was, every day was a day, you know, as it comes, you figure it out and you do it.
How was it like when he was a baby, and how did you guys deal like with his sensory issues and other things? Like, did you just have to try stuff?
It was, well, I like it quiet to begin with, so it's not really much of an issue on that one. But when he was young, it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was new to me, so it's not like I was comparing it to.
He enjoyed it. No, because Katie was probably the one buying the clothing, and he was probably freaking out on her, and the store's not wanting to wear jeans, because I used to work in a kid's store, and I know what it's like for kids to be having a breakdown because of sensory overload. But he's saying it was walk in the park.
The other child, you know, to me, this was my first child, so I had nothing but books to compare it to. And we all know children are different.
So is he saying because Katie had a child or Chris had a child? What's going on?
You know, I remember him sitting on the threshold between the living room and the kitchen, and just sitting there, and you buy him all the toys he wanted, but he was going to go for that. You give him an empty 2-liter, and he would play with that more than all the other toys that you bought him. All right, and it's like, okay, well, whatever makes him happy, you know. And at one point in time, it was about 45 minutes that he just sat there and laughed the whole time. And Katie was on one side, I was on the other, and we were just making funny faces at him, and he just kept laughing. It was, you know.
Yeah, Tony, thank you so much. I wanted to welcome you, but so sorry, I started a little early. I didn't want Seth sitting back there too long.
It's all right. Don't interrupt the boss.
So yeah, what is one of your? Tell me a little bit about you know, like fondest stories. Like what did you guys like doing when he was a kid, when he was a baby?
Swimming. Boy loved to go swimming, and it was great activity. Putting sunscreen on him and then just going. And I've always liked to be a swimmer. To me, it didn't matter. Like I swim. When I grew up, swimming was, you swam in ponds. You didn't have a pool. You lived in the country, so you know, I swam in rivers, lakes, ponds. You know, if there's something there that'll eat you, you'll find out. Otherwise, you know, it don't kill you. It makes you stronger. Sebastian, on the other hand, you know, he's swimming in a lot of different pools.
Check out the headset he's got. He's got headphones now. That's when you know you're official YouTuber.
Saltwater pools, freshwater pools, chlorine pools, but it's always been he never really liked the beach because he didn't like the sensation of the water around his feet.
Mhm.
So.
And he doesn't really, well, I got it down further, but to go through some of the stuff, because he doesn't really like dirt and stuff between his toes. It seems like.
No, he doesn't. I mean, when he was younger, it didn't really matter. But as he got older, I've got pictures. I've got plenty of pictures of him dirty. Like, but that was before he started talking and dressing himself, and then it was like he didn't want food. He didn't want himself dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, still gotta take a shower, boy.
Gotcha. And it kind of dovetails right into kind of my next line of questioning is I want to kind of discuss his disabilities a little bit and want to explore like his likes and dislikes. What are like some of the major things that he absolutely loves?
Besides like video games, or because what I've gathered over the last 3 months is that he's different at my house than he is at his mom and stepfather's. So I've heard some of the stories, and it's not one of those pleasant things that I like, because it just means I was inadequate in doing what I should have done.
In a situation like this, it's always the coulda, woulda, shouldas. You'll have plenty of time to beat yourself up later. We just
doesn't matter. It's an everyday process, no? Until I find it. But he loved anime. He loved watching cartoons. Even though he's 15, I mean, one of his favorite ones, like, he loves ramen. Like, we have a Japanese restaurant here in Clarksville that I will take him just to eat ramen. But like, we'll spend all day watching Naruto. So just so when we go to dinner, he'll want to go have ramen.
So he's into he's into we have a store like that here. I'm trying to think of what it's called. It's like a Japanese inspired store, like anime and stuff. So I think, okay, I know what he likes. I know what you're into, buddy.
He likes a lot of anime and cartoons.
Gotcha. What does he absolutely dislike? Like, just without a doubt, like it's a no-go. Like, he just absolutely can't stand this.
Boring movies would probably be his go-to. He doesn't like to watch like old, I like Stargate movies, old Star Trek movies. He doesn't even like the old Star Wars movies. If it's not new, he doesn't really like it. If it's not his generational thing. When he was growing up, we made a big deal every Christmas when a new Star Wars movie came out. Me and him, that would be a me and him night. We would go have dinner, and then we would go to the movie theaters, and we'd watch the first showing of the new Star Wars movies. And that was just one of the things that we did as a dad and son.
But you just said he didn't like watching Star Wars or Star Trek movies. So why would you make him go watch the Star Wars movie? Especially, I'm just saying, if he is, and he is autistic, that's one of the traits for autism is you like to do things that you like to do. You don't really like to do things that other people don't like to do. And I'm not trying to be mean. I have autism. And that's it. I mean, that's true.
I think I kind of glossed over some things.
So he probably did freak out if he didn't want to watch a
Katie,
movie.
How did that whole situation work out, when he was younger? Because I did watch you. I think it was Jennifer Coffindaffer, and you were talking about that you took care of your son, that she ended up, after his medical diagnosis, went off to the Navy. How was that? What prompted that decision?
I really don't want to say anything bad about his mom, but if you're not willing to do something along the lines of taking care of the child, then you have to do something else to help with the family. And I was going to school full time, I was working full time, and I was taking care of the child full time.
So he was going to school full time, he was working full time, and he was taking care of Sebastian full time. Where was Katie? In the garage?
Gotcha.
She sleeps like a rock. She slept like a rock when she was with me. And he'd wake up and scream, and it wouldn't matter.
I'm just curious. I wonder if he was bottle fed as a baby.
If I had just had,
because you got to have the mom there to
maybe
do that,
or 2 hours of sleep as soon as he would wake up. It's like, hey, are you gonna go take care of him this time? And no answer. And I get up and I just go back to doing what needs to be done, because it's not his fault he's awake.
Right.
And it got to the point that I had to drop out of school, and it was just like. Then I talked to her, and I tried to have one of those life developing conversations where, you don't want to be in the career you're in 20 years from now, still be doing it. So if you do 20 years in something else, then you can retire and have a nice little, then you can go take all that education and learning and go do something else with your life too. And
Are you trying to say
Here we are, 15 years later.
like he did it? Like he did it. Like he did something. Katie did that. Katie got herself in the military. Katie did those tests. Katie did those drills. Katie did all that work. My Lord have mercy. My Lord have mercy. I guess I do say that, but I don't say the other one, but the other one someone told me I said, but I do say Lord have mercy. Hey Eddie, thank you. Welcome in, Eddie. This is
How is
That's not nice.
Sebastian at meeting new people?
If he got a bad impression about you the first time, he didn't want to talk to you. You know,
How about sorry, did you want to finish that? Sorry.
if he liked you, then he would not put himself out there, but he would not hide. All right, because you had pretty much three different things. One, he would hide. Two, he would be shy, or three, he apprehensive. Like I've watched him, and it's like as he got older, it's like, do you think she was cute or something? Yeah. Is that why you went out and shook her head and told her, what your name was? Yeah. Okay. Well, it's fine, son. Just keep it like a gentleman.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's starting to have crushes. I heard he had a big crush on Taylor Swift.
That's pretty much. He was a Swiftie. He liked her music, and he liked to, I guess he liked to watch her videos and stuff.
Mm-hmm. How is Sebastian with changes in, like, say, his schedule? I know he was about to go to your house. I mean, how is all that? What is his behavior like?
At my house, it's routine. I really don't know too much about their house, but he was getting accustomed to it because every other week coming here or.
That's another thing I wanted to bring up real quick. I mean, how much PTO is he getting right now? If he's a corrections officer and he still is holding a job there, I can put my like monthly YouTube check on the line and say that he's getting some sort of PTO, paid time off time. Just like you would if you were having a baby or if you were adopting a baby or fostering a baby, one of those, like, if you do that, you get paid time off. I'm pretty sure if your kid's missing, you're going to get some sort of paid time off. I'm just wondering. And I figured that Harley Ryder, I figured I figured that she enrolled or whatever, enlisted in the military to get more money. If they were married, they would get more money. That's what I kind of thought. Like, that's why they got married. But I don't know. They might have been married before then. But that's usually what happens in my case. I've heard, not in my case, but where I've seen it happen.
During vacation times and stuff. But I didn't have much of a schedule here unless we were doing things.
Okay, not much of a schedule there. Okay, it just we're
he was going to do it because every other week coming here or during vacation times and stuff. But I didn't have much of a schedule here unless.
But you're going to hear him say he needs structure, and they're too strict over there.
We were doing things because if he was going to be here and he didn't have school, it's like, hey, you can't be up all night. I have to work. You definitely need to be going to bed by like 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. I know you're watching TV.
Absolutely not.
On your Switch.
He said on another interview that he told Sebastian asked one time if he could stay up, and he told him he could stay up however long he wanted to because he was on vacation. Does anybody else remember that interview? Tell me I'm not going nuts. 12 weeks? Wow, Vivian. So he's still got some weeks. Wouldn't that be something?
And like, if I was at work, I'd just call him from work, see what he's doing.
That's another thing. He's at work and Sebastian's at home, but Sebastian has the mental capability, he says, of a 10-year-old. So you would leave a 10-year-old at home while you were working 12-hour shift, 10-hour shift, 8-hour shift?
Check in on him. And he knew that he needed to make sure his phone stayed charged. And then he needed to answer that phone when it rang because it could either be me or his mom calling him.
How did he like trying new things?
Like food?
Well, I'm going to be asking you about food, but just new things, trying like maybe a new event, a new activity.
Well, I'm a creature of habit, so I don't really understand what you mean by,
I guess like new, like would he, like if there was a new game, like if there was a new tag game or a new running game, would he be wanting to try it or no?
Not really here. As for playing tag or anything,
mm-hmm.
It's really not a new game. That's just, it's an old game with a new twist.
Gotcha.
And
now,
like going to the park and stuff like that, he always loved to run. I mean, he liked to always play tag. Anything that got his blood pumping and him running around. When we were in California, I was teaching him how to play soccer. I drew the line at football, and I was just like, I can't have him have a head contact injury or something like that. And so
then he probably couldn't be playing soccer neither. buddy, or softball, baseball. Maybe he should just stick with like playing pool, maybe swimming.
Into a little bit of his the stuff, but it's a little later in the show.
Thank
So
you,
now
Mary
I guess the
Beth.
question is, what about food? Trying new food.
Well, how do you know if you don't like it if you don't try it?
Right.
Now, if you try it and you like it, that's good. But if you try it and you don't like it, at least you tried it. And that was the whole point with him, is getting him to realize that you can't say you don't like something just because somebody else said they don't like it. You got to be your own individual.
So he is willing to try new food.
Yes, ma'am.
Not me.
Now, this is going to be one. How about changes in the weather? I hear in sensory issues that weather could impact that. Do you?
Again, when he was here, if we had thunderstorms and stuff, like when we had the 2 tornadoes that hit Clarksville, the one on Fort Campbell Boulevard and the one on Tiny Town Road, he was by my side the whole time. Like, I went out front, smoked a cigarette, and I was like, well, that doesn't look good. And I was like, well, I'm going to walk back this way. At least I won't see it when it hits the front of the house. Sebastian had already put on his boots and everything because he was ready. Because I'd already told him, listen, we're in a tornado watch warning, bad thunderstorms, get everything ready. I had the bathroom already prepared, towels and stuff in the bottom of the tub. And so he could go in there and I could throw the mattress on top of him if necessary. And went to the backyard, saw them from coming down from Tiny Town Road. So it was kind of like, well, they're coming from both sides. I don't know what to do, And we went back to watching movies. Had the doors open so that we had a breeze coming through here. I mean, I grew up.
And he did well, huh?
Well, it's like, I'm not worried, so why would he be worried?
Right. Interesting.
Your children take a lot of their cues from you.
What would cause, because I've been reading a lot of his chromosome deletion as well as autism, and there are things that trigger them that cause some mood swings or something like that. What would cause a mood swing or trigger an episode in Sebastian?
Sometimes it would be like literally nothing that you would observe because everything's coming from his perspective, but stress is one of them. I mean, I've seen him, in hindsight's 2020, but stress, probably feeling like you're not in control of yourself. Like you have no control of your life.
What does he have
You just have some control. You have control over where you're at on the internet. You have control who your spokesperson is. You have control of where all the money goes for those donations. You have control of where you search every day. Haven't seen him search not once. And I will tell you this, he had this little shoulder injury. He's had this since the divorce. So this is an old injury that he, I guess, re-injured because Katie was upset because he was taking the rugs for the shoulder injury, and she said he was going above and beyond just the ones that he's supposed to be getting them for.
a problem with overstimulation?
It's in the documents.
Like if he had an overexerting
I've
day,
been reading
have you seen that
today.
trigger an episode in him at all?
I have seen him stay up for 2 days, 2.5 days straight from overstimulation. Yes.
So it causes them to get in almost a manic type state?
The brain gets like, it's like the old fashioned tops, give it a couple, 2 or 3, it spins. But when you break the gears on it, it doesn't stop. It takes forever for it to stop. I have seen him stay awake for 2 days here. He's gotten overstimulated before on road trips, and he'll stay awake for the whole road trip.
ADHD. That's not an insomnia, I don't think.
Coast to coast.
Wow.
Because he's staying awake throughout the day, throughout the night. Normally insomnia, you just have a little trouble falling asleep. You're not like,
Oh, well, I could use a driver like that.
unless you're chronic insomnia.
Just saying.
I get him. We're not even going to go there. Trying to get him to actually get behind the wheel of the steering wheel for a vehicle for me to even teach him. He's like, no, Dad, I don't want to do that. I'm like, you think I'm going to drive you around your whole life? He was like, I'm not going anywhere. So why do I need to drive?
Aw.
I'm like, you going somewhere? Here's the keys. It'll work. You're going to have to do something. You like playing Magic the Gathering. You like buying these cards. You're going to have some way of supporting your habits.
Yeah. This is going to kind of go to the, events of the day before your son disappeared. After hearing the events that unfolded the day before, do you believe, based on what you heard, that it was possible that your son was overstimulated?
We had a very, very packed day. There was a lot of goings back and forth to the store, then back to the house, things like that. When he was at my house, he had the option of either staying here or going with me to the store.
So because Katie made him go to the store with her,
And I preferred him to go with me to the store.
he says himself that he has the mental capability of a 10-year-old. So if he did or does, why would Katie leave him at home? Why would Seth be leaving him at home? Why is it work?
But there was times he was just like, Dad, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave the house. And it's like, okay, well, understand that if you don't come with me, I'm only picking things up on my list. There'll be no extras, nothing that, normally I would get you or anything like that because you're not going to be there. And he would think about it. And he would be like, okay, and either he would stay or he would go. If he stayed, then it was just literally run to the store and I'm back in like 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. If he went, back in like 45 minutes, and we may end up going out to dinner afterwards. But I like to take him with me because, like, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? And have him help pick out things for dinner. Getting him to voice his opinion and have his own ideas.
Mm-hmm. What you brought up something that I didn't even think about on my list. So when you go to the store, what snacks? What kind of snacks did he like? Like, what was his favorite? Like, I don't know. Did he eat candy? What did he like?
Well, really kind of depended on his mood on that one. Sometimes it was ice cream. A lot of times it would be like Debbie snacks. Like he liked Nutty Bars.
Ooh, me too.
He loved zebra cakes and Swiss roll cakes.
Me too.
But it's like I still have a box of his Fiber One granola bars up there in the cabinet. It's not open. He finished off one of his last ones when he was here. I've got his.
Deep breath, buddy.
I'm so sorry you're going through this.
I couldn't imagine. I'm sure he sits there and he thinks about it all day, every day. It looks like it's a small apartment. So it looks like literally he probably is sitting right where he's sitting right now and looking at Sebastian's bedroom. It's sad.
Take your time.
There's old Tony.
Okay. Well, hello, Mr. Mathis. How are you doing this evening?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am doing, as good as expected in a situation like this, But it's great having you. I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for, speaking to me and, helping me with all of this. I really do appreciate it.
Sure.
I really do appreciate it. While he's taking a little, break, maybe I'll just talk to you about some things. How have things been going with everything?
As far as working with Seth, it's been fantastic. I mean, you're not going to find a better human. I think a lot of the challenge has just been not understanding how people function in a situation like this. And I would think that when somebody's child was missing, that everybody would bond together, and regardless of their feelings about any of the parents involved. I mean, you would think everybody would be kind of like 9/11, right? Where it didn't matter what side of the aisle you were sitting on, and we were all Americans, and everybody kind of bonded together. And you'd think when a child was missing, that's what you'd see. But in the words of another creator, it's out here in the streets, that's not the way it works. So, that's been the biggest challenge. But I'm laser focused on taking care of Seth and helping him find his son. So as far as that goes, it's been fantastic. I mean, he's got a very small circle, but there's some wonderful people inside of that circle. And I talk to each of them every day, sometimes 3 hours of the morning. And, that part's been fantastic. So one thing that a lot of...
Who are they talking to? Who are they talking to for these hours per day? Each other? Because all the searchers are gone.
People don't know, I've never even shared with you, is Seth and I didn't know this till we started working together, but we actually grew up 15 minutes apart.
Mm-hmm.
Would you look at that?
He grew up in a little town called Riverton, Kansas, and I grew up in Joplin, Missouri, and those places are 15 minutes apart. So, we ate at a lot of the same restaurants growing up. So,
oh, geez, yeah, I forgot BHB's the team leader now.
Talk about, even though we have a history beyond a month or so.
Right.
And I did bring my latte this evening.
Oh, did you? I made one right before the show too. I made one right before the show. Sorry, I had to slow chat down just a little bit. Again, Seth, I'm sorry. I know that this is probably.
Don't be.
I'm sure you feel like you're going through a meat grinder.
She did dress up for the occasion.
When I say it's a never-ending nightmare, it is. I just want everything to be the way it was. Last time he was here, nobody comes back.
Betty, these kind of questions are tough on Seth, but quite frankly, Seth will be the first one to tell you that this is the type of stuff that he wants people to hear, and this is truly what he wants to talk about.
Yeah.
There's so much stupid fucking drama, and it's not helping me find my son.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit further down. You know, it just, I can't even remotely imagine what you're going through dealing with a missing child, but all the other stuff going on that's just unnecessary. I mean, there's a time, I always talk, there's a time and a place for everything. This isn't the time, this isn't the place. And
it's never the time and never the place for a kid to go missing.
yeah, but I'm talking about the other nonsense.
I try my best to ignore most of it.
That's probably the best thing you can do. I mean, like even right now, I got my list of questions over the comments and just praying to God that everybody's being good over there. You know,
I'm not even after being on another particular podcast or show. I don't even see your comments.
Good,
I don't
good.
even have them up.
Yeah, I'll be doing a Q&A and I'll be kind of vetting the comments before we go over them. And we've got so many questions here, and I've got questions from my mods and a couple of questions that were sent to me for some. And I don't want to keep you all night, you know, but I do want to get through a few.
Well, I'm pretty sure you can try to keep me all night. I sleep.
Yeah, I'm sure even when you do have an opportunity to get sleep, it's your brain probably doesn't shut off. So
It doesn't.
So this is going to be, I don't know, this is going to be a little bit different. You asked for a kind of, I don't know how, I'm just going to be blunt. You asked for basically a proof of life video from law enforcement because you had not spoken to your son since the Thursday before he went missing. So you didn't speak to him Friday. He was out Saturday with his mom, Sunday, and then Monday he wasn't there.
So that's what that's called. Old Betty just told. Because you know how he saw the BJ's video or whatever, Costco video. But he asked for it to be like a proof of life video. I wonder if he asked it like that to the officers. Show me a proof of life. I want to see the last time my son was alive. If that's the case, I mean, that's kind of already stepping on toes that, you know, technically right now, as of, you know, May 30th at 10:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we don't even have a crime that's been committed. Technically, we don't have a crime. We don't have a kid. We don't have a crime. We just have a missing kid. That's not a crime. People have gotten out of jail for their kids being missing. Didn't even reproduce the kid. Still came out of jail.
And so law enforcement did bring you, I brought you in.
I'm wondering how he asked about that.
The Roadhouse video. And you got an opportunity to see your son walk out of the restaurant.
Because, you know, he could have said, like, do you have a video from BJ's or Costco? Like, you know what I mean? Just so we could see what you guys were doing, make sure no one was following you. There's a way to word that.
Tell me, what was the first thing that you noticed when you saw that video?
He's alive. It was literally just a proof of life video.
What was his demeanor like?
There wasn't enough for me to tell.
How about the clothes that he was wearing? Were those, I think you've already answered this, but just for my clarification.
Chris answered that question.
Huh?
Chris answered that question.
What did Chris say?
Chris said that they used his clothes from the night before for the scent dogs.
Okay, gotcha. Did anything appear odd or out of place when you were looking at that video?
Didn't pay that much attention. I was just happy to see that.
You didn't pay that much attention. You're just happy to see him. What do you mean you weren't paying attention? I would be looking, it'd be like a where's frickin' Waldo for me. And have you ever been in Costco? I mean, literally, I would be like, okay, this is the map. This person was here. This person was here. What do you mean you didn't really look at it? What if there was someone right behind Katie and, or not Seth, I'm sorry, Sebastian? What if someone was following Katie and Sebastian and you could see them in the parking lot? Like, come on.
Gotcha.
Come on with it.
I wish I had it. Yes,
And
I
I
wish I
want a
had that
copy
video
of it.
so I could sit there and just look at it. Yeah. But I'm not law enforcement in this case.
I wonder if he asked.
I'm a suspect.
He's a suspect, he said.
And you have not been cleared.
No, nobody has.
Nope. He's a suspect. No one's been cleared.
If you had a list,
I think it's kind of hilarious, but you know.
and actually, I'm going to kind of go on a little tangent here. But just to clarify, where do you work?
I work for Davidson County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your job or your job title?
Deputy Sheriff, and I work in the Corrections Department.
And he works at the jail. The correctional jail, not the prison.
And where were you the night that Sebastian disappeared?
At work.
And you said you were at
Downtown Correction Center.
and so you were at a jail.
I was in jail.
So you were in jail. And I'm sure there's probably, with it being a jail, it's a very secured area.
Oh yes, I am on camera arriving at 6 p.m. into the garage, which is a secure garage. You have to have badge access to get in or out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm leaving at like 7:30 the next morning, exiting out of the garage.
If you had to list Sebastian's favorite activities to his least activities, which would those be?
Favorite activities?
I think I already know the answer to that, but
Well, again, it really kind of depends on his mood, because here I'd say his his least favorite activity is going to bed, but his favorite activity is sleeping.
Interesting. I was rolling the dice on video games and cleaning his room.
His room is actually when they came in on Monday that he disappeared, they trashed his room. Flipped mattresses over, took sheets and blankets and stuff off of his bed, went through his stuff. And I told them when they came in, I said, listen, his room is probably a mess. You know, just bear with it. And when they walked in, they were like, his room is cleaner than my kid's room. Well, needless to say, when they left my son's room, it was like he had been in there a week and never left. And it took me a minute just to go in and clean up his room. Put everything back where he had it. But he doesn't like cleaning his room. Very rarely does it.
I just want to make a comment really quick. I know that a lot of people are taking their own personal story and they're taking this to heart. They're taking it to a place where it shouldn't be. I know a lot of people out there, and I just remember this, so I wanted to say it. I've had trauma, have had experiences like this family's had, and they're putting their own experience in this case, and they're taking it too much. They're going too far. They're going too far. They're going as far as saying, I love Sebastian more than Katie did. Like, no, you didn't. No, you don't. Anybody that has trauma, I'm really sorry, but your trauma, you can't put your feelings into this. You just can't. Like, you have to just try to step back and just observe things. That's what I've been trying to do. And when I've been observing, a lot of it does come back to Seth because he's the one that makes himself to be out there. Now, if Katie and Chris did the same stuff, told everyone to F off, did all that stuff, brought out divorce papers, CPS reports, things of that nature, then the internet would be on fire, And I'd be talking the other way. I would be talking about them. No one in here. I just remembered it.
Get him to understand that if you pick it up and you put it away, when you're done playing with it, you know where it's at when you want to play with it again. And, when he's awake, he loves playing with his Legos. He'd be underneath the bed playing on this little Nintendo Switch thing.
What are some of Sebastian's allergies? We hear a lot about he's got some allergies.
He's allergic to grass. That's about it.
Gotcha. Well, I guess that would be kind of medical. I was going to say, because I don't know why I was thinking about like medication if he's.
Oh, HIPAA. We're not.
I know. That's what I was about to say. Better be careful. Huh? I'm skating a little too close.
I mean,
sorry, got Betty sped up there a little bit.
Hold on, wait a minute. I don't have a PhD and I don't have a doctorate in the medical field, so I can't violate HIPAA.
Yeah. Wow. When Sebastian,
I'm allergic to grass myself, and they mowed the yard today.
Don't worry about it. We'll forgive you. Maybe I should mute. Maybe I should just mute you just a little bit. Hold on. There we go. There you go. Are you cleaned out?
Yeah. Currently, that means a different thing in the medical
cleaned out.
It also means something different in jail.
Yeah. What does that mean?
So when Sebastian stays,
what does that mean? Like, I don't know jail slang apparently. I don't know if I want to know, but I'm gonna rewind it. Like, you guys hear it. If you know what it means, let me know.
Are you cleaned out?
Yeah. Currently, that means a different thing in the medical field. It also means something different in jail.
So when Sebastian,
is he talking about like an enema or something getting cleaned out? I don't know. I'm really like oblivious to this. Yeah, he just blew his nose. He blew his nose. Yeah.
Stays with you. What does a normal weekend look like for you guys? What do you do for fun?
Well, I pick him up Friday. It's depending on traffic, an hour and a half drive to get back up here. Sometimes even longer, depending on what direction we go, depending on how his day went. Sometimes I'll let him pick the route. Do you want to take the interstate? Do you want to take the highway, or do you want to take the back roads? I mean, as after time change, with it not getting dark until after 8 o'clock, time change, we normally would take the back roads. There's been times that we've seen a lot of deer and turkey and stuff as we're driving back, which I don't understand that anyways, because he would be playing his video games and not paying attention to the road anyways. But I mean, come back up here, get up here with enough time. If I'd already had everything planned, I'd already have stuff in the back of my truck, tackle boxes, chairs, fishing poles. We'd just go straight on through and head over, go fishing at the high school, or go up to Yellow River, go fishing up there. Always enjoyed that. Pick up some food on the way up, or I'd already have like bread sliced meat and cheese to go ahead and make sandwiches. Pick up graham crackers, marshmallows, and chocolate. Making s'mores is always fun.
When?
This is probably going to be.
What do you mean? You're just making a fire out in the middle of nowhere? He said they'll be driving home. They're watching the deer. They see deer and stuff. And he said, sometimes I'll pack like a tackle box with some in the fishing rods, right? Fishing rods, tackle box, and I'll make some stuff for sandwiches.
More difficult, but
then he said, I don't remind myself. Then he said he had made, or he brought stuff for s'mores. But where's the fire? We're just putting a fire anywhere. Can you do that? Just putting them in. I mean, I don't know. I'm really asking. I don't know. I just know that what the bear tells me to do. Don't start forest fires.
What has been the most difficult part of you dealing with your son's disappearance?
You hear that? TV's not on. He's not playing video games. Nobody goes in his room. It's like it's not on. He's not coming to ask me what I'm doing. He's not asking me to play card games. He's not here. He's just not here. I don't know where he's at. I don't know where my son is.
It's gotta be. I can't even imagine. It's so hard for me to try, and I'm trying to stay away from the drama during the interview, but some days it's just so hard for me to understand how people can be mean to this man. I don't get it. I don't know if I really don't know if I will quite, ever get that. I'm just.
Why we lose our minds once in a while.
Okay. So this is.
My house is not a home. He should be here. School's already out. He should be here.
I looked that up too, and school is out.
Enjoy the summer break.
I was like, dang. But this.
He was going to be moving into your house this time. Like he was supposed to be coming to you and living with you full time, like right about now.
Several days ago.
2 weeks ago, he said. Now, that's not true. 2 weeks ago, he would have been in school. He wouldn't have been with you, Seth. He couldn't, unless you were driving him to school an hour and a half every day and then picking him up an hour and a half, so 3 hours, Monday through Friday. If not, he would have been staying with Katie, his mom, his stepdad. He would have been going to school still. And I'm telling you what, that first interview where I swear he wanted to say Sebastian was just staying with him for the summer. I want to hear it. I want to hear it out of Katie and Chris's mouth that he was going there to live. Because the way he dodges that question, it's just, I don't know. I need to find that first interview.
He'd been out of that situation and he'd never have to go back.
Now, this is kind of another dovetail. You had received reports. I know you can't discuss the reports. Maybe you can answer this. Were you shocked about what you read in the reports? Can you answer that?
Yeah. I was.
Hello, Moto.
Okay.
I was shocked more when my name's not on any of the reports because they didn't bother to call me.
Yeah, and that's been a because you had. I mean, I want the audience to understand.
Hello, Moto.
Does anybody feel like they went back? Does anybody feel like they went back to like the early 2000s with that? Bring. Hello, Moto. Do they even make Motorola phones still? I guess they do.
Yeah, Betty, I think it was just as big of a shock as to the fact that they didn't notify him as to what was inside those reports.
And then Seth,
I have a problem with that too.
Seth just walked away. He just got up, walked away, and got himself a drink.
I don't know, a father that has joint custody.
And
I
maybe
don't
laugh when
understand
he
why
did that.
would be immediately notified, unless that information was withheld from the Department of Children and Family Services. Sometimes they don't have those details.
I mean, if he had no custody whatsoever, no custodial rights, is the only way it makes sense to me.
Right, and he had to hire an attorney to go get those records, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
I did have to hire an attorney to get those records pushed through to get to me. The only thing I can say to those records is that there is a statement stating that the only place he felt safe was here.
I don't want you getting yourself into a legal quagmire.
So he said the only place that he felt safe was with his dad.
I'll let you speak about what you're comfortable speaking about, but just
I can't really mention anything about him. You know, Lord help me if DCS contacts my attorney one more time. I'd already told her what to do if they contact her one more time. I'm not speaking.
Why is the Department of Children's Services contacting your employers? Like, or your lawyer, I mean, your attorney. I don't get that. Why would why are they doing that?
Speaking about
There's a reason.
I'm not giving them out to anybody.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and you're not doing anything to violate the confidentiality. You're happy to have those reports. At the end of the day, you now know what happened or what is alleged to have happened, at least for whatever incidences those cover.
It's more insight. It's more insight in figuring out what was going on, because it's obvious that the communication that was given to me wasn't proper communication.
Have you ever been contacted by DCS at all? Ever in the past?
Not here. Not here. I'd had it at CPS in California.
And
Listen up, boys and girls. CPS in California, he said. Never had one here, but I've had one in California.
can you share what that was related to, or is that?
My son went to school and told his teacher that I beat his ass. And when CPS showed up, I was like,
Okay, how's everybody feel now? My son went to school and told everybody that I beat his ass. Does Sebastian look like a kid that is going to make up stuff? Does he look like he wants to get in trouble? Does he look like a kid that wants to cause trouble? Hell no, not to me.
told him to clean his room. I was going to bust his butt. Did you bust his butt? No, he cleaned his room.
Mhm.
There was the threat of a butt whooping.
Right.
You know, and he was like, "Well, he said that you were going to beat him." And I'm like, "Wow, okay." So when he came home, I literally turned on the Mortal Kombat and I turned the blood action on, and I showed him what a beatdown was.
Mhm.
Through video games. I was like, "You see?"
This is in California. So he says he was like 5 to 7 years old. And he's showing him fight scenes like the gory ones on a PlayStation that a child should not be watching. And he's showing him that and saying, this is what a real beatdown looks like.
See all that blood and everything, son?
That kid was probably just scared of everybody.
Come on. Really? It was like, "I'm sorry, Dad." And I'm like, there's no reason to be sorry. Just educate yourself on the verbiage and the words that you use, because you can blow things out of proportion and not even realize what you're doing. So,
Do you think that that might, because of some of these things in the past where he did blow them out of proportion, do you think that, maybe some of these things were either blown out of proportion, or do you believe that, because that was a long time ago when he was in California? How old was he? Like 7, 8?
most of those were, he wasn't. It was, I want to say 5 or 6.
Gotcha.
You
So
know, he was
just
only
didn't really
going to school for a half a day,
Gotcha.
Which was only a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you about this because I didn't quite hear this, but my audience and my mods had brought it up to me that you had indicated that your son had some type of brain ailment that you guys learned of, either fluid on the brain or.
He had a pocket of fluid on the right bilateral part of his brain. It's been there since he was born.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch him, make sure he doesn't suffer any head injuries or anything like that. It was too big for them to put a
stent.
A stent. It was not big enough to put a stent in, but still big enough to actually cause damage. That's why I didn't want him in football.
Right.
I didn't want him putting on a helmet and going, head first into something, because anything that might cause damage to his head is not something like I want my buddy to be safe.
When you heard Katie indicate that there was a potential thud coming from his room.
Also, I don't know why he was like, Sebastian said the only place he feels safe is my home, because we all know, well, you might not know, but I know, I've been reading the divorce paperwork, and he said that Katie has like all this special training and that he was pretty much terrified of her. Like he was scared of her. She could beat him up. She could beat him up all day, he said.
Room with the knowledge of his head injury. How does that make you feel?
If I heard it at my house, I'd have been in my son's room to find out what was going on. If I hear any kind of strange noise coming out of his room, wherever room he happened to be in, any room, period, I'm going to go find out what that noise is, verify, see what's going on. The fact that she would say that there was that type of noise and not go check on him, to me, is not proper parenting.
Based on your knowledge of your son's behaviors, do you believe he would have left the house in the middle of the night?
Different scenarios go through my head. For him to leave and not have his shoes, code, take his switch or his phone, stuff that I know that he went with him if he was going to run away. No. But for him to leave without shoes or anything else on there, the situation would have to be severe enough for him not to be able to grab that stuff.
And I mean, that's a possibility. Eloping is a thing, and we went over that. It is a possibility that he ran out the door that night. Maybe he was having a nightmare. Maybe he shut the door behind him and he locked it because he thought whatever was that was chasing him, because, maybe he woke up and thought something was chasing him. He ran out the door and maybe he thought he was locking it back and locking it there. I don't know. He's a little, 15-year-old boy, maybe. Or, maybe something else happened where he got lured out.
So based on the information that I know about my son and the story that is being told by his mom, for him to have left between the times of falling asleep and 6 o'clock in the morning, this is straight bullshit. And she knows that's how I feel about it.
Have you been involved or heard of any other incident where he disappeared or got lost in the past?
Never.
Betty,
Is there, Mhm.
I will tell you that I had a private conversation initially with CP and KP, and I asked them very directly, and I know there's been some contradictions, but I asked them if it was normal for him to just walk out of the house regardless of the time of day, and they both in unison said absolutely not.
That's pretty interesting. Is there a special spot that Sebastian loved to go that you're aware of?
Up here?
Anywhere there, near their house, near your house?
Down there, I don't know. Up here, the park that I've done 2 or 3 interviews at, he loves to play there. He likes to go to the pond over by the high school, which is a 45-minute trip in my truck, and Yellow River, which is clear out in Palmyra. So, but would he know how to get out to those areas?
Right.
And I've been out there. I've been out there along the rivers looking.
I'm really sorry. I don't.
Just want to find my son. Just want to bring him home. Just want to bring him home.
When you learned of Sebastian's, many medical issues and disabilities, what did the doctors instruct you guys to do as parents to properly care for your son?
They didn't instruct us to do anything.
So there wasn't any special classes or anything that you guys had that they recommended or anything like that?
Well, Sebastian went to a lot of classes. We didn't. He had speech therapy. He had speech therapy. He had fine motor control classes. He had gross motor control classes. You name it, whatever it was I could get him into, I got him into. I mean, anything. Going to California was the worst mistake in the world because their education system sucks beyond belief. First year that he was there, they literally taught him the letter S. Like, my son knows the whole alphabet and he can count 1 to 10. Why are you just having him do S?
He probably wanted to do the letter S because his name is Sebastian and his father's name's Seth. So they're probably art projects that he was doing. He's saying they only taught him the letter S. Now, come on now. Come on. Come on. Sorry, but not sorry. They did not teach your kid 1 letter the whole school year. And if they did, then you need to tell someone about that school. Let's go back and listen to it.
Beyond belief. First year that he was there, they literally taught him the letter S. Like, my son knows the whole alphabet and he can count 1 to 10. Why are you just having him do S?
Right.
Left him enrolled there?
Because y'all suck.
Yeah, that's California. I didn't know their education was, I don't know why I didn't consider their education.
Off topic, No Child Left Behind was handled the wrong fucking way. All right. Instead of just passing kids to get them through class so their numbers look good, they should have hired more teachers. So you had a higher teacher to student ratio. That way the children would learn. Then No Child's Left Behind and everybody gets a decent education.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. But you had a lot of problems, like even with the type of classes your son needed in California. I think I heard you say that Georgia was the best, or was it just the opposite? You hated Georgia.
Oh, Georgia was extremely horrible.
Okay, gotcha.
Georgia's where they sat there and told me, "Won't your son just grow the chromosome back like he's a fuck?" Yeah. Sorry, I forgot. I'm one of the lizard people, and don't worry, my eyes blink regular, but he'll grow back his chromosome like a lost fucking limb. I mean,
Oh my goodness.
Best place
You
ever.
have to cuss.
Nice. That's kind of actually,
Coming from somebody that lost something,
to be honest with
I
you,
don't say it.
Kansas is not really. I wouldn't have thought of that, to be honest with you.
They have a facility in the town where he was from, Betty, and it's really good.
Gotcha.
In Riverton.
I feel so bad for Seth. I'm really sorry. I'm glad you're there. I'm glad you're here, keeping him, at least nothing more. He sees a friendly face when he looks up, it's got to be probably pretty hard on him and terrifying all the same. I mean, I can't imagine.
Well, like I said, this is what he wants to be talking about. It's not easy, but he would much rather be talking about this stuff than some of the other BS.
Yeah.
He just throws the BS in here.
Was your son, was he going to be a person that was going to need lifelong assistance?
I don't think so, right?
Gotcha. And prior to this whole was your son, was he going to be a person that was going to need lifelong assistance?
Good chance and possibility.
Good chance of a possibility, but you're going to leave him there while you go to work. There's a good chance that your son is going to need somebody to take care of him through his whole life, you're saying. You're saying that 15-year-old boy that we've seen pictures of, he's going to need somebody with him all the time. Man, you giving up. Giving up what your son can achieve. Just because he has a chromosome deletion does not mean that he can't take care of himself. I mean, call me biased, but they told me they were going to take my legs from me, but they didn't. You know why? Because I worked, and I worked hard, and I worked every day to get where I'm at. And Sebastian will do the same thing. He doesn't need somebody to take care of him every day. You do, Seth Rogers. Sorry, that got under my skin. Sorry.
And prior to this whole disappearance, what was your relationship like with the Proudfoots, with Katie and Chris?
I'm not an easy person to get along with, but neither is my ex-wife. The divorce was kind of horrible. I mean, she accused me of some nasty things, and when the divorce initially happened, I had an attorney. And pretty much he told me that he just wanted to play dirty and take everything from her. And I was like, that doesn't help our son. I just want a divorce so I can start again. And this was before she accused me of some of the things that she did. But when she did that, he was like, you're the one that chose to play it nice. And I looked at him and I was like, I chose to be a human and not accuse her of everything that she's done. Child still deserves a mother. Child still deserves to have his father. And it was like, well, this is what you get for playing nice. And I looked at it and I was like, well, I hope you enjoy the rest of that retainer because you're not getting any more from me. I'll represent myself. So I did. And so much happened. I wish I had more money. I wish I had a different thought process because I just wanted to be in my son's life. And I didn't think that my son deserved not to have his mother in his life.
What?
You talk about,
Sebastian was with Katie for a reason. Now, I don't know what the reason was, but there was a reason.
Obviously it was, and of course it's been plastered all over social media. So, even I know about the divorce proceedings and how.
Actually, I'd like to say something about that. It's funny how every one of her declarations that she wrote is out there. None of my declarations are out there. So everybody's only getting her written side of the divorce, but nobody sees any of mine out there. I really think it's funny that that's out there on Reddit, but my stuff isn't out there on Reddit on the stuff that I submitted.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. It seems like it's a one-sided narrative for sure.
And I'll tell you right now, if people really want to look, they can look at mine because all of my declarations aren't written by me. I refuse to write anything bad about that lady. I refused. What happened behind closed doors? What she put me through? The hell that she put me through? I didn't have a thing. I mean, we're talking about I was 7 years without a girlfriend after the divorce. I didn't even, I was.
That's not her problem. Why are you saying I didn't have a girlfriend for 7 years after the divorce, but you're calling her crazy and stuff? It doesn't make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Wasn't looking for it. No. I mean, it takes time to heal from
Yeah.
trauma, from abuse. And I was good living in my sanctuary, my house.
Okay, so Katie was so abusive. Okay, that it took 7 years for him to be able to. Okay.
The only person
What
that
are
came into
these
my house
doing?
was my
I'm
son.
curious.
This is the safest place he knew because he felt safe here. Of course, he's going to feel safe in my sanctuary.
So when did we come from California over here? When did we get from California to Tennessee? Because we were still back in California. Remember, he was 5 or 6.
Because he had his own little sanctuary here too. You want to know why he slept all the time when he was here? I didn't give him sleep aids. Literally was asked what I did for him to sleep
He
here.
kept his
my house.
meds away from
And I
him.
told law enforcement, hot shower and some sleepy time tea, which is still up there in the cabinet, bought at Walmart. I do it myself.
He said it before. He don't give his kids his medicine. That will make him sleep. That'll make his head feel like it's going to explode.
So that I can get to sleep a little bit easier. That's it. I don't believe in this medication and stuff that he was taking. I never did. And one of the reasons she divorced me is because I refused to sign off on any type of pharmaceutical medication for my son because I believed in home remedies. He had ADHD, then give him this. Got into arguments with psychologists at the school. You want to give him a cup of coffee every 2 hours. Well, you want to give him a pill every 4. I'd rather give him a cup of coffee and his kidneys will filter it out and he goes and takes a leak instead of building stuff up in the system and you're giving him Ritalin. You're giving him basically pharmaceutical meth. What are you trying to do to our kids?
Some people need those medications. They just do. And when you have autism on top of ADHD, you'll have meltdowns if you do not have those medications. If there is a threat of those medications not even being in your presence, you'll have a meltdown. There's no way that he was cool as a cucumber. The reason why he was sleeping at Seth's house, in my opinion, is because he didn't have his medication. His brain was not working right. Your brain just overprocesses so much stuff until you get that stimulant and then it finally slows everything down. That's why a lot of kids, a lot of people with ADHD, they drink caffeine, they fall right asleep. It's like, it does something for them. My nephew had ADHD and, well, I do too, but my nephew had it. And he's like, told my mom, he's like, Grandma, just give me a Mountain Dew. My mom was like, I'm not giving you soda, you know. And she did finally. And he went right to sleep. Because we didn't have his medication for him.
You wanted good, wholesome remedies to help you.
He,
not-
as a child, needed to understand that what happens if something happens to me?
Now, I do understand kids will be kids and let them run it out if they have too much energy. But there's a line with kids to just have too much energy. And then there's kids that they need a little bit of help. Now, do I agree with stimulants? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a mom. But if it were to
And all of a
help
sudden, he doesn't have
my
insurance
child, then
anymore.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he has no idea what meds he's supposed to be on or anything else. And he's got to learn how to take care of himself. He's got to learn to function on his own without the use of medication. And until he was 8 years old, he wasn't on any medication. I refused that stuff. Didn't have a single problem. Had a structure and routine in the house. And he flourished with that.
So you kind of hit on something, and I was going to be getting into your relationship with Katie a little further down in this, but you said some things that kind of perked my curiosity. Was Katie abusive to you?
She had a drinking problem. And when you say abusive, she was.
I wonder how long Seth was with Sebastian the last time they saw each other. Because you guys know the story of, I'm going to tell it really quick if I can remember her name. I'm trying to think. It's the girl at the Cecil Hotel. She was an Asian girl. So the story behind that, and this is what they think happened to her. She was found in a water tank. There's video of her like looking around the corner. She's like peeking out of the elevator. She's doing things where it looks like someone's following her or chasing her. And we're all just like, kind of like, what's going on with her? But what happened was they said that she was on Seroquel. I'm on Seroquel myself. They said that she was not taking her dosage of that. And she would take it here and there, and then she wouldn't take it. Here and there, and then she wouldn't take it. And that's what ended up causing her pretty much to go crazy, do all of these things, take herself up to the freaking water tank, put herself in the watering tank, just because of those medications. Now, if Sebastian's on those medications as well for insomnia or something like that, and someone is ripping them off of them, and then someone is putting them back on because they don't know they're off of them, that's going to affect someone's mental health, like, greatly. I
She
feel
was
so
active
bad
duty
for
Navy.
this kid.
And, their slogan nowadays is, I'm a sailor with a drinking problem instead of being a drinker with a sailing problem. You want to know about emotional, physical, all that? We can check all those. I mean, I dealt with a lot. Being a stay-at-home dad,
So
I'm not doing a man's job.
he
getting
literally
told
is telling the world right now that Katie Proudfoot abused him, put her hands on him emotionally, physically, all of it.
This all the time, that she does a man's job.
That's
No,
a big
you're
statement.
not doing a man's job, honey. You're literally an electrician. It's a profession. All right. That profession is not limited by your gender.
That profession got you food in your stomach every freaking day while you were married.
I'm very.
You didn't work.
There's 2 jobs in the world, maybe 3, but a man's job is to protect his family, and a man can impregnate a female. A female is supposed to take care of their children. All right. Very specific gender roles in my life. The way I was raised. Everything else.
Yeah,
is a
let
profession.
us know about them.
All right.
I
got
Yeah.
tired of it. So when she asked for the divorce, I was good. I was like, please. I just want to be in my son's life.
May I ask you something? And I just want to ask you this kind of, because this has kind of unfolded itself like over the last 24 hours. Did Katie file for divorce on February 26th?
I have no idea. I'd have to pull out the records and take a look
Let me
when
go
she
see.
filed for a divorce.
Well,
But I wouldn't know.
somebody is actually saying that it was February 26, 2019, exactly 8 years from the day your son disappeared.
See the number.
2016.
From 2016. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, 2016. I don't see the
I
date.
wouldn't know. I'd have to go literally through either through the records, the paper records,
wait,
or I'd have to
no,
go through my emails.
August.
If you found
Oh,
out that it was on the
incident.
date
Never
that your
mind.
son disappeared,
Hold on.
what does that mean to you?
No. Looks like it was the 28th.
Just
Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'll tell you right now. I think it was. Which one was I just on? Son of a gun. Okay. I just had it now. Okay. Date of incident. This is August 28th. Come back. I saw where it said like February. Or not February. I think it said April. But let me double check. Sorry, guys. I found it. Now I can't find it.
The day that she fucked my life up. Another day that first one was a divorce, way to destroy the nuclear family. Another one to take the last bit of my family away from me. She's good at that. Something I always told my son, there's 2 things in this world that you can do with these. You can either build or you destroy. Be a builder. Don't be a destroyer. That's not gender specific either. That's with everybody. And he was going to be a builder.
At some point after the divorce, the animosity had to have calmed down. It sounded like you guys kind of got into a rhythm, a system, if you will. Sebastian was, going to your house. On the other, the weekends, it seemed like you guys weren't having custody disputes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know this is difficult. It really sucks. But what I was asking is, after the divorce, obviously it was pretty contentious, and you tried to keep the higher ground.
I didn't try. I did.
Yeah. You guys were clearly at some point started working together, started, making sure that your son, went back between the houses, that it was calm. It seems like you guys were becoming a well-oiled machine, if you will. Is that an accurate assessment?
Looking at these DCS records?
No, take those out. Just your knowledge of the situation, just the way you're.
My knowledge of the situation?
Yeah, just at the time, before your son disappeared, you guys appeared to have the animosity worked out where you guys, would that be an accurate statement?
Animosity was probably still there.
Okay.
It would raise its ugly head every once in a while.
Gotcha.
Me, I just tried my best to ignore it. Simple things like, why don't you enforce the same rules at my house? So on and so forth. And it's like, you got in trouble in your house. You got in trouble in your watch. You tell me why he's in trouble, and I will determine if it's severe enough that he will be punished here.
The punishments need to be all the way around the board the same. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to dad's house, so I'm grounded anymore. That is a horrible, I don't have kids, but that's a horrible way to communicate and be parents, co-parenting. If you are going to be co-parenting with another person outside of your home, Communication is number one. Communication.
But if it's not, I'm not going to continue the punishment. This is a different household. You know, he didn't do his homework. Well, he's going to suffer on that end, but he's going to suffer at your house. He's not going to suffer at mine. Because when he was here doing homework during COVID, he did his homework. I didn't have to worry about it.
You just said you just sent him back to Katie's house and she would have to worry about it.
Point of him getting to come stay at my house and be in trouble for something he did at your house and being punished at mine.
Right. You wanted to visit with him. You didn't want to punish him.
I got 2 days with him.
Right.
And literally, you know, I go pick him up on Friday when he gets out of school at 3 o'clock. I literally get Saturday all day with him and then have to take him back on Sunday. So I'm really getting only 1 solid day with him. You think I'm going to punish my son?
Right.
You're out your fucking mind. You know, Mr. Chris, I don't like the fact that he's, you know, you got him wearing underwear at your house. Well, we don't have the accidents at my house that he seems to be having at your house. So why, again, am I going to have my son wearing a fucking diaper at my house when he can get up and go use the bathroom and not have an accident?
Do you think Katie and Chris?
Did we ever hear that from the Prophets? Like, where did that come about? Like, where did the Sebastian wearing diapers thing? Can someone point to that and me in the direction of where I can find that? Like, for sure. Because I don't know. Yeah, he's just bringing Chris into it. Chris wasn't even in this conversation at all. And Tony is supposed to be the person that says, don't talk bad about anybody. Remember that? And then Tony comes out and talks bad about everybody. Well, he let Seth go. But this right here, this would have been shut down. It would have just been shut down because I don't know who said it, but I haven't heard it, but I haven't watched all the interviews. Do you know what I mean? So where did Chris say it at? Because I want to hear him say it. Like, I want to hear like it in context. Because I'm wondering if he was having those accidents at Seth's house, but Seth was just washing the sheets or something. I wonder if it was an incontinence issue. Chrissy and Katie said it. Seth came out first. One of the first interviews. Maybe it was maybe Duchess. I didn't watch all of Duchess. Maybe that's what it was. Oh. Okay. I'll have to watch it. I bet it was that one. Because that was one I didn't watch all of.
Chris stressed him out. Do you think that's why he was having accidents?
They stress me out. And I'm not a 15-year-old kid. I'm in law enforcement, and I'm literally at DDC with 65 inmates that are either murderers or in there for a long period of time about to go to prison. And those two stress me the fuck out and work them. Wow. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry. This is just one of those. Take a deep breath. Relax.
So he blames Katie and Chris for that. Okay.
And this is probably gonna, my next questions are gonna kind of be geared toward Chris. So, according to Chris,
I understand why you'd be mad about that.
The world is basically you guys speak regularly. Is that true, and how often?
About Sebastian, yes.
Yeah. But
obviously, he's feeding me a line of bullshit every time I fucking spoke to him. And my phone number's still the same. And I know he's probably watching. He's probably in chat. Hi, Chris. Fuck off. You can call me.
Like, why? Like, what? Like, what's the point in that? Like, what is the point in that? He needs anger management, Roseanne. He does. There's something seriously wrong with this man. He needs to be evaluated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Tony needs to be too. Tony's down there freaking laughing, giggling like a little girl. He's supposed to be the spokesperson. He's supposed to be bringing everyone together. But he's down there laughing? Like, y'all, come on. Even Betty ain't laughing about that. Even Betty ain't
my
laughing.
Key phrase, I guess.
Right.
But that's been my key phrase for a long time, way before my son went off to, play Houdini out of their house. Beat me up, Scotty. It's only a Chevy. But I'm just tired of the bullshit. No parent should be going through this.
If Sebastian came home right now, would he like what he's going to hear? Would Seth be cool with everything that he said? Would he be cool with Sebastian hearing all this? I'm just wondering. Maybe Tony and Seth are in here. Maybe they could tell us.
Station, man. Show a little fucking humanity. My heart is missing. Just drop him off. Tell him to go call 911. I need my son. And I want my son back. Life ain't fair, but this is bullshit.
Give him just a second, Betty.
Yeah. And you know, I know you're a smoker. If you need to light one up, go ahead. It doesn't bother me one bit. You know, I know this has got to be just awful. While he's taking a break, I just want to do a check in chat to make sure everybody is doing well in chat and everybody's, you know, being good as good as is expected with 2,800 people. You know, so I do appreciate everybody being here. If you guys are getting something out of this, please consider hitting that like button.
Either do your part and pray, do your part and keep the word out there, or just move on to another missing child.
Betty's like, give me my vape.
And there's always, you know, you can always go and just, if you want to do
As
something,
I take a hit off my vape.
go post a flyer on your pole right outside your home. That's probably the quickest and easiest way you can help.
You know, I just got back from, as you know, I just got back from North Dakota like 15 minutes before we got on.
How cold was it there? I hear it's cold all year round.
No, it's like 70 degrees. It wasn't bad.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But, you know, I had the magnet on my truck, and every gas station I stopped at from Oklahoma to North Dakota, and every gas station in North Dakota, I went in and put flyers on the windows.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the messages we want to get out there is we don't know where this child is at.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it might sound silly to be in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and be putting flyers out 40 minutes from the Canadian border. But, you know, we've heard theories about him being in Alaska. We've heard theories about him, you know, being across the border. I mean, you know, it's just, we just don't know. And, you know, people that truly want to help, that have compassion, that are part of, as I always say, part of the solution, not the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anybody can print a flyer off. I mean, it doesn't have to be on 50 cent a sheet paper. I mean, they could be black and white flyers. It's still getting his image out there.
Yeah.
You know, you have to ask yourself when you're involved in cases like this, you know, are you an asset or a liability? And there's really no in between.
Right. Right. There's not really a middle of the road. It's all in or all out.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got a few questions, you know, for you, but I'm kind of waiting them to the end because it kind of all dovetails into my closing. So you know, the only real thing I can really ask you is how has, you know, and it's going to be kind of talking about behind Seth's back, but how has Seth been to you, you know, behind the scenes?
We talk multiple times a day. I mean, I have a routine. I usually check on him in the morning. I check on Randy Harris in the morning. You know, Randy and I talk about work things, and Caleb, and Seth and I talk about whatever it is he wants to talk about, you know?
Yeah. Actually, I was just going to say, on the next break, I would like to get an update on Caleb, but now that Seth is back, I'd like to. Hey.
Well, I heard him talking behind my back, so I wanted to come see what he had to really say.
Yeah, I'm trying. You know me, I'm prying over here.
Buddy, I'll tell you what, you're going to be putting time out after this show. I can promise you.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is just an unfortunate thing, but it's kind of hard because I'm trying to find the perspective, and you know, the way I'm seeing this kind of unfolding is it seems like Chris is like the domineering one. And how often did you speak with Katie before all of this? Was your primary contact Chris, or did you ever speak to Katie?
I spoke to Katie, but see, the animosity that's there between me and Katie wasn't really there when it was me and Chris.
Mm-hmm. So you just find it easier to work with Chris than you do to work with Katie?
Yeah.
But he just said F you to Chris. You know, he just said F you, Chris. But Chris is the person that's the voice of reason, he's saying, between him and Katie. They can't get along.
How did Chris approach when he asked you? How did he approach you when he asked you to take Sebastian full time? What was that conversation like?
Many discussions had been had before it was approached, but both Chris and Katie and everybody was like, he is a different child when he comes back from living with you. And because he's a different child, it's like I kept trying to tell him if they're having a problem with him, let me talk to him. Let me know what you'd like me to address so that I can speak to him. Me and Sebastian could, from an early age, me and Sebastian communicated. Like, before he could even speak, he would do grunts and sounds and stuff like that. And I know exactly what he wanted.
We all do that.
And it upset some people in life, but it's like, it's not my fault. I know what my son was. You know, our wavelengths were more in tune. I connected to my son. I mean, you kind of do that when you're, you know, deadbeat tired to the world, and you're sitting there feeding him a bottle, going, "I'm still awake. I'm still awake. There's still milk in the bottle." You know, I've got pictures of where, you know, he literally crawling everywhere, and then he would just hit his limit.
Congratulations, you were a father.
And he'd be out.
Making Katie like she didn't have any contact with him or any connection.
Wake him up, or do I just slide a pillow up underneath him and then put a blanket on him and, you know, try to get 20 or 30 minutes worth of sleep while he's passed out? And it's just one of those things. It's like, I believe children are supposed to have a solid foundation to lean on as they grow up. Mm-hmm. And I believe I was that solid foundation with the structure that I had in the house, everything routine, you know. The court system literally at one point in time during the divorce told me that I was borderline abusive because I had, shower time at 7 and bedtime at 8.
No one
It's like,
said
how is that
that.
borderline abusive? It's routine. It's school. You need to lay down. You need to have your hot shower, be clean, lay down clean in your bed. And whether you're asleep or not, but you need to be laying there so that you will go to sleep.
I don't
I got deja vu.
know how that's what I did with my grandchildren. I put them down at 8 o'clock because then they can
Oh, I
rest
watched
their
this
bodies.
earlier.
They're usually off by 9:30 after horse playing for an hour or so. And
But I was told that I was borderline abusive by a judge in California for having a set routine for my son. He was in school.
and that's what they tell you to do is have a very, that's one thing that throughout this whole process that has been instilled in me from all the parents is that a strict schedule is the best way for autistic children to survive, and to thrive.
And they didn't even have him diagnosed as autistic, but with the chromosomal deletion, it was simple to understand that it's not even for autistic children. It should be all children. All children need to have a routine, and it's a foundation, because then it's stability. They already know what's going to happen as the night progresses. No surprises. You got to go, you got to take a shower, you got to get to bed, so that you can get plenty of sleep, so you can wake up in the morning, eat breakfast, get ready for school. You need the sleep for your mind to recover and your body to recover so that you can absorb the information that's being taught to you at school.
How was your relationship with Katie when you two met?
What do you mean when we met?
Were you aware of her abuse as a child?
I was aware of that.
How did that affect your marriage?
Seth, stop for a second.
I prefer not to speak about her personal stuff.
Okay.
I still consider myself a gentleman, whether other people do or don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that is her personal life. And that is something that, for me to say anything of it would be disrespectful for any.
Who brought this out to begin with? Seth Rogers.
Anybody to speak on how somebody else has been essayed.
So, you'll come out and spit some shit, and then you'll say, I'm sorry, I can't talk on it. Just like when Pascal had 12,000 people in his live that you were going to bring CPS papers to, and as soon as he finally got to it, he was already in there $5,000, deep in super chats. He's asked the question, the ultimate question, where's the CPS reports? And Seth goes, nah, I ain't showing you. Do you remember that hour and 44 minutes we didn't get back of our lives? I feel like we're having a rerun of that.
Well, then let me ask you this. Do you, and this is going to be a pointed question, and you may want to answer it, you may not want to. Do you believe Katie would abuse your son?
Am I talking about essay my son?
No, abuse your son. Just abuse him.
Mental abuse?
Physical, mental, verbal.
I mean, for my son to sit there and have told me while we were living in California that why does mama hate you so much?
When they lived in California, he was 5 or 6.
I wouldn't know, son. She's never said that to me. Oh, she said that on the phone to you. Well, no, she didn't. She'd already hung up before she said that. Things like that are mental abuse to a child that was called my mini-me. And whether she realizes it or not, every time she said something that was negative about me, I'm pretty sure my son took it to heart because he's my son.
Well, I have to.
You should be saying the same things to yourself right now if your son's out there watching the shit that you put out there, the essay and everything you put out.
How when you hear Katie talk,
you should be ashamed of that.
This is one thing that's really kind of rubbing me a little bit raw. She talks about some, in my viewpoints, the way she talks is disparaging. Are you getting that same?
You're talking about her interviews and stuff since this has gone on? Yes. I can't sit through any of her interviews. I cannot listen to her. She won't even say my son's name.
No, she won't.
And there's a reason why I say my son.
My
son has a name. His name is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He's my son. I'm looking for him.
My son.
I'm asking everybody to help find my son.
Every time I hear that, I'm sorry, my heart doesn't break for him when I hear that. It makes me almost a little upset at him. It's not just your child. I know that Katie was at the house that night, but all the cops are saying right now, everyone's just kind of there. There's no evidence of a crime as of right now. I heard somebody say the other day, did they spray her house with luminol? What? What do you mean? They would notice if there was a new stain or a new cleanup or a new wall or something where they would need to spray the house down. They've checked the house 3 to 4 times. They've checked her car. Someone asked if the dogs were checked on her car. Come on now. They checked everything.
I don't hear her doing that.
And if one more person says Sebastian didn't leave that house, then where is he? He has to be at the house if he didn't leave the house. Where is he at? In the wall? Where's he at?
I don't see it.
I'd really like to know where he's at.
I don't hear her saying his name. I don't see her saying his name. I don't see that.
Does that
Nothing would have
concern
been
you?
nothing would have been better for me than being able to put our differences aside and work together to find our son. But I'm not going to let some dirtbag run the show when it comes to finding my son. The only person that has an input on it would be his mom and me. We run the show to find our son. I don't care if you're married to her now or not. A united front is not me and the stepfather working to find my son. It's me, the mother, and her husband working to find our son. But he needs to learn how to support his wife in a supportive role while she looks for her son. I don't see that.
Well, apparently you talked to her in a way that's uncalled for. But if you guys could talk and, you don't need to really probably talk. You probably should just have Chris be the person that goes the in between. Just have an in between.
It's not my job to support her. It stopped being my job to support her when she filed for a divorce.
You didn't support her before she filed for divorce. What do you mean? She was working, you weren't.
The only support I have are some of my close friends. I have close family, but they're in other states. The support that I get from them is a phone call. See how I'm doing. I've got friends in other states. They call me, see how I'm doing. But
There was a vigil you had, and there was photos of Chris kind of being in your personal space, in my opinion. There were rumors at that time that he was screaming at you or raising his voice, or something about the whole GoFundMe situation. Do you have any comment on that?
you're speaking about I think that would have been less. We did the like path. We did.
It was right before they were seen at a motorcycle shop.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Mhm.
Hey, he didn't raise his voice at me. He was asking to literally to work together. This was before I spoke to Tony, and before I spoke to a dog person who has completely ghosted me, by the way. I don't care what her opinion is. She can't be looking for my son if she doesn't have his shoes and his clothes. They're at my house. Chris has already said that he's not giving her anything of Sebastian's. So I'd like to know how she's got a scent to find my son. And my phone number. Give me a call. He wanted to work together. I believe that was the one where another creator turned around and showed what I said at the very end first, instead of actually showing how everything went in order. And people took offense to me telling the people, if you don't like it, to F off.
Let's go ahead and let's watch that, shall we? Seth Rogers saying that somebody took it out of context. They played the beginning or the ending first where he says F you. No, they played it in full context. It's right here.
Putting our differences aside, it's not about our egos. It's about finding Sebastian. Me, Chris, and Katie will begin working together. And if everybody else could just fuck off and put your egos aside,
Listen to this.
help us find our son.
Help us find our son. Where is this Seth Rogers at? Where is this one? Where's this guy? Because we don't know which one we get. We get a different one every day. We don't know which one we're getting.
Or kick rocks, or however I'm supposed to be PC. I've never been.
Don't worry, they would have gotten a lot worse for me if it was.
I mean, people don't seem to understand, but if somebody walks over to my neighbor's house and sits there and be like, hey, I'd like to search your property for Sebastian Rogers. His father has told me to come over and ask you. Now, if I have not given this person permission, and that gentleman that is my neighbor sits there and goes, well, sure, I know Seth, if he's asked you to care for his son, go ahead. That person goes in there, looks, I don't know that they're doing. I don't know what they're doing at all, because they're not communicating with me. And they kind of stopped communicating with me, which is why they're no longer on my team. Because you're not going to do stuff without letting me know, because that's my name. Yeah. If that person gets hurt on that property, then it's a liability for the property owner, and then it's a liability for me. And in the name of Sebastian Rogers, they got injured and hurt because they were doing what the father asked them to do. No, it's a liability thing. People don't seem to understand that. So when I sit there and I know that people are doing that right now, I get phone calls, police departments. Hey, your PI hiring this person for a dog person, and they said they work for you. I get calls like that, and I'm like, let me reach out, text them, call them, find out that they haven't. Reach out to my attorney to make sure my attorney hasn't, because they communicate with me. And then I'm calling back the police department. No, don't have anybody out there doing that. Well, there's people out there saying that they are. So when I do go to ask somebody if I can go search on their property, and they turn around, they're like, well, you've already had searchers here. Why are you coming back? No, there's people here that are stating that they're searching and that they're part of my team. They're not part of my team.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes a real issue. People don't seem to understand. If people are going to do things on their own, do it on your own, but don't put me and my son's name into it. It's a liability issue. Because when I do go to that property and ask to go search that property, and the owner is telling me somebody has already been here and in my name has searched their property, and they were not law enforcement, they were not SAR trained, they did not have the, and they tell me no. Now I can't search this property for my son, so I don't know if that property has been properly searched or not.
Right, because you don't know who did it.
I don't know who did it because I'm not having communication.
Mm-hmm.
Who is on my team to find my son is my choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one building the team. I'm the one that's responsible for him. As the gentleman here has already said, I'm the boss. I'm the one that asks things to get done. I asked Tony to do things for me. I asked him to put his feelers out to get things that I need. When I sit there and I ask people, if you want to help and you can't come and help search, send me an address to send flyers to. Oh, that became a cute. Seth's asking for your address. Yeah, I got 1,000 flyers that I'm getting ready to pick up, so I can sit there and hand them out to people who want to hand out flyers.
And let's just be honest with you. The people that want to participate can give their
Okay, so private addresses. How much is postage? And you're going to send like one flyer to each place?
Don't give your address. Go over to TBI and print off your own damn flyers.
Put that money towards a reward.
Some people can't do that.
Because nobody's going to get that in their mailbox and think to put that somewhere. Come on now. Put that money towards a billboard.
Some people don't have the monetary sources to go do that. And
you don't either, sir.
Let me ask you something real quick. And it's kind of talking about your team. Now, this is kind of like a little sore subject because, there's been a lot of criticism about Tony being on your team.
I know can get over it.
Yeah. But, a lot of people are just, concerned that he's taking advantage of you somehow. Is there a way for Tony to take advantage? Does he have access to money, fundraiser, your credit card? I mean, how is he taking advantage of you?
I don't know. Tony, how are you taking advantage of me?
I think it's those secret late night calls, Seth.
Oh, you mean right after I go to sleep when you call me to tell me that somebody's running their mouth? Or the late night calls where I call you because I want to see how everything's going so I know what to prepare myself for the next day. There's nobody taking advantage of anything. He's a volunteer. If he wanted to, he could tell me, hey, I'm done with this shit. I can't do it no more. And I'd tell Tony, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. I know where you live.
Do you have a TikTok account?
No, I don't.
You don't have a TikTok account? Okay.
I don't have a Facebook. I have a YouTube account, which people have looked. I've had this since 2006.
Yeah.
But 2006 is when I made my Gmail account.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2 years before my kid was born. Okay. And before this, I used YouTube to listen to music.
Right. Yeah. That's the way I was too before I became full-time buddy.
Seth, let me ask you a question. When you're with me, forget you paying for anything for me or me taking any money. When you're with me, do you even pay for anything for yourself?
No.
Well, thank you, Tony. God bless you.
Tony won't let me. Tony won't let me.
Mm-hmm.
I've with my team, we've gone out to dinner at times, and I get the third degree when I start reaching for my wallet to pay for shit. And it's like, I was raised to be a gentleman.
Right.
I had a particular female got mad that I bought her dinner, but everybody was splitting up the bill, and I was like, well, I'll pay for these two people here, this one and this one.
Right.
And I got the third degree because I was told not to. Then I got yelled at because I left the lady a tip.
Now, come on.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
No. Now, come on, Seth. Nobody yelled at you for tipping the waitress.
In this world, you can't do anything right. But I tell you what, everybody's opinion is just that. It's their opinion.
Yeah.
I just want to find my son. And, somebody's going to be haters out there.
Mm-hmm. So I want to kind of bring us back to
Sebastian.
Today. Yeah. And I want to kind of start now picking your brain on trying to remember, and it's going to suck for you, and I know, and if you need to stop or slow down, just let me know. But I want you to kind of go back to the morning of February 26th when you listened to your voicemail message and you heard Chris on it. Was it Chris that was on the voicemail?
The text message.
Text message. And
I had a missed call and a text message from Christopher Proudfoot telling me to 911. So I called him.
Oh, wait, we might have missed this part. And I was really wanting to point it out to you guys. So if I did, if it already said it, let me know. And because if not, you'll hear it if not. Betty says, ask Seth, what's Sebastian's favorite activity? Or she says, what's his least favorite activity? And Seth says, to go to bed. Least favorite activity. I would think it'd be like, my least favorite is soccer. I hate watching soccer. That's an activity, a hobby, reading a book, not going to sleep. Then she asked him, then she said, what's his favorite activity? And he said, going to sleep. I'm like, Betty, are you going to correct him? She didn't.
And
I was
what
like,
the
he just
conversation like?
confused me.
Don't be angry or mad. Sebastian's missing. What are you fucking talking about? My son is missing.
Did you find the statement, don't be angry or mad, odd?
Yes and no. I mean, my son's missing. Distraught would have been a better word. Confused on why he's gone. Mad and angry now. With what I know, yeah. Mad and angry fits now.
Betty asked the question about the
Then again,
poo-poo.
what I know now is everything that Chris knew beforehand.
Did you get immediately concerned when you got that call that there was something seriously wrong? Did you just know immediately?
I left there and I was doing well above the speed limit trying to get to Katie's house to find out what's going on.
Looking back on that call you had with Chris, does anything now seem out of the ordinary or odd?
The lack of emotion, maybe?
Interesting. When you got there, what did Katie personally tell you happened? Did you guys talk when you got to the house?
When I got there, I assessed the situation before I walked in. There was law enforcement was everywhere, in and out the door, so on and so forth. By the time I got there, the dog people were there and the drone people were there. I was the last one to this stupid fucked up party.
What was it like when you arrived at the home outside of the craziness from law enforcement? What was the behavior of the people, Katie and other people that were there?
When I walked in, Katie said something to me and then shoved her phone in my face. There was a picture of Sebastian, the one that you see him with his optimism shirt on. Started kind of confused me on why she's shoving a picture of Sebastian in my face. I know what my son looks like.
Do you know why she did that?
No, still don't know why.
Well, maybe it's because he was asking people about proof of life video. So maybe she was like, here, there's your son. I don't know.
Let me see what I can see. Obviously, my son's not there.
I hope we find this
How
little
long were you
boy.
there?
Turned around and I was there for a little bit, just enough to talk, to find out what was going on, to find out if they had any evidence or anything, to hear the evidence that was being said. And then I jumped in my truck and started looking for my son.
Immediately.
Within 30 or 45 minutes. I don't like a lot of people around me to begin with. And obviously my son's not there. And I'm under the assumption that he just walked out. So I jumped in my truck and started looking. Driving up and down the roads, screaming for my son.
Did you stay with Chris and Katie there for several nights?
I didn't stay the night. If that's what you're asking. Hell no.
Okay, so you guys didn't sleep. Well, because I had heard rumors that you and your family stayed there, and I was going to ask you about something.
No, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They told us not to search. All right. They told us not to be getting out and walking through the forest and shit like that, looking for Sebastian. That they didn't want one of us to go missing while we're looking for our son.
That's not really what it is. They didn't want you to find something. They just didn't want to tell you that. They didn't want to tell you, if you go out there and you find your kid dead, we don't want you to see that. They're not going to say that to a parent of a missing child. They're just going to say, don't go out there and search. It's not good for you guys. We don't want someone else getting hurt. You know what I mean? Like something like that. He brings this out every time he does an interview. And it's like that's not what they mean. But
I understand that. That's why I did my searching out of the vehicle. Driving around, hollering for my son, going up and down every road, looking as far as I can see, screaming for his name, almost went and bought a bullhorn.
I got a couple around here. I can send you one. I might have to buy batteries. I wear them out, but I got an extra.
I think it's a little
Oh,
too
that's
late.
funny. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
In the area.
What was Katie's demeanor like that morning when you got there?
It's really kind of hard to explain. But
Was she acting normal?
shoved her phone in my face, had a picture going, see, we're at BJ's yesterday and everything was fine. And I'm like, trying to prove something to me.
No,
That's not
That's
how
an
you.
odd statement.
she's probably trying to prove it to herself. Like I remember seeing him. We were together yesterday. Like I could see me doing that. Being like right here he is, but he's not here now, like being frantic, like your questions are going through your head, I don't
That's
know.
not how you prove something to me.
But I could see
On
that.
top of that, that picture wasn't taken BJ's, it was taken at Costco, and it's like you're already throwing false information in my face.
Do you think they actually went to BJ's or no?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I was just asking. That wasn't on my list, but you were saying that, and that does sound like a really odd statement, convincing language, so to speak.
Doesn't work on me.
Yeah.
I get plenty of liars at work.
Oh, I bet you're almost like a human lie detector.
Well, I look at them and I call inmates on their bullshit. It's like, don't try to bullshit me. It's not going to get you anywhere. Be as honest as you can with me. I'll be as honest as I can with you. It's a respect factor. Mutual
I'm
respect.
diving in. Do you think she was bullshitting you?
Yeah.
That morning. What?
Yeah. That's why she doesn't like my opinion. That's why when I told Chris I needed to speak to Katie, well, you can't do that unless I'm there. I don't care. You can be there too, buddy.
Wow.
So-
What was she wearing?
I don't remember. She was dressed. I mean,
She was
obviously
dressed?
there was people in the house. So
Right. But I just didn't know if she was in her pajamas or she was dressed.
So Betty, if the sale is that you were told not to look and you were told to stay home in case your child came home, then we could buy that if they actually stayed home, correct?
What was the weather like there? Was it raining or snowing that day? Was it cold? Like, can you?
first day was pretty decent. I mean, I think that low the first night was 50. The next night it got colder, and then I think on the third night on Wednesday, I think it was 20 degrees, and then we had rain for the next 3 or 4 days and pretty crappy fucking weather.
But it wasn't crappy weather the day he disappeared.
No.
Did the neighbors speak to you?
Briefly, one of the neighbors spoke to me, lovely lady that lives next door. She introduced herself. I'm horrible with names, but most of the time, the people that came over, I was just sitting in a chair. People kind of looked at me, and then they would have their conversations with Chris and Katie and Kathy and whoever else was there.
So why wasn't he up with the people, mingling, talking to people? He's just sitting in the chair.
There was some introductions, but I'm not one of those people you just introduce.
Well, in
I
this
was watching
position, he
the baby.
would.
Did the neighbors say anything odd? Was their behavior odd, or were they just appeared to be concerned?
Some of them appeared to be concerned. Some of them brought their video footage over for Chris to look at.
That's
So Chris
really
got to see all the
awesome.
video footage. I didn't get to see shit.
I knew he was going to say that because they didn't. Oh my. Okay. Seth is feeling some type of way because he drove all the way to North Carolina and he couldn't see the video footage from the rest stop. So these people that are living in their neighborhood, it's completely different than going to a business. These people are bringing over their video camera surveillance so that Chris and Katie can go through it because that's who they know that lives there. Chris and Katie. They don't know who Seth is. So they're bringing it to them to check it out, being good neighbors. And then you got Seth going, well, I didn't get to see it. Well, like, come on now. Stop being so jealous. It's petty.
Still in the dark.
And that's quite interesting.
Like, that's petty.
Was Chris friendly?
And I'm not for anybody. Let me just say that again.
After Chris lost his
That's petty.
school, I couldn't stay there after Wednesday.
Lost his school? How? I never heard this.
The GoFundMe my sister set up to help me pay my bills while I look for my son.
I'm going to tell you really quick about the GoFundMe. Nobody was supposed to start a GoFundMe under Sebastian's name. So Seth did a little sneaky thing, and his sister set him up one under Sebastian's name, though. Sebastian's name's in the title. So.
What was that
The
all over? Why did he want you
GoFundMe-
to stop?
hold on.
Why did he
Hold on.
threaten you?
Yeah.
Hold on. It was a GoFundMe that my sister set up for me to
Mm-hmm.
pay my bills while I look for my son. It wasn't set up as a reward. It wasn't set up as
No, it's
anything
not.
else. People want to know what happened to it. It was donated. I used it to pay my bills. I used it to put gas in my truck so I could drive an hour and a half down there.
$26,000? $26,000. You paid your bills? What bills? And you couldn't, I'm sorry, but no one can get a reward for him up? I mean, he has $3,500 from local businesses.
I mean, people,
What are you talking about?
You don't have to convince me because I know how expensive.
no, it's just a little annoying. If the GoFundMe had been put up for a reward, yes, it would have been used as a reward. And I still have some of it. And I still won't touch a portion of it because I'm wanting to put it into the reward. But it has to be set up properly, and law enforcement has to literally approve of it.
Right. Gotcha.
Just because people want something done doesn't mean it happens. I'd like my son to be found, and I'm looking for him.
When you were there and you saw Chris and Katie, did you see any injuries on their persons?
I was not paying attention to them.
You say you didn't see any scratches on Chris's arms?
I've seen pictures of the scratches and stuff afterwards.
Did that concern you at all?
Nothing I can do about it now.
Did you find any
Like, that's the stuff that
behaviors when
gets
Chris and Katie
me.
got together as
I think that's what gets me so fired up about Seth is he lets everything just dangle there. He's not cut and dry at all. And that's what I don't like. This is a missing persons case. This isn't like a dating game. This isn't let's go buy pew-pews off a T-Rev. This isn't you stole my girlfriend. This is about Sebastian. It's not actually. It's not about Sebastian. This is the Seth Rogers show tonight. But
the reason why
bringing to you by
son, I'm not trying to
Bullhorn Betty.
Their conversations are inappropriate for what was going on.
How do you mean?
Talking about the next vacation, the jewelry that, I'm going to buy for her. That is, Kathy wants jewelry and wants Christopher to buy it for her. I mean, the conversations were enough to make me sick, so I left to go try to find my son.
They were having these conversations in the house. Kathy was these people.
What? Is this because people are coming out saying something about him saying stuff? 4 women are coming forward.
Kathy wants jewelry and wants Christopher to buy it for her. I mean, the conversations were.
Is he saying Kathy?
You're the last person to see your son. I'm not trying to. I don't want to put you in a.
Their conversations are inappropriate for what was going on.
How do you mean?
Talking about the next vacation, the jewelry that I'm going to buy for her. That is, Kathy wants jewelry and wants Christopher to buy it for her. I mean, the conversations were enough to make me sick, so I left to go try to find my son.
They were having these conversations in the house. Kathy was these people. What was your opinion of Kathy?
My opinion of her?
Yeah.
Really going to piss off Chris if I sit there and tell you my opinion of her.
Have you met her before?
Well, you just pissed him off by saying that.
Yes, she was actually supposed to be helping me find a place to live. She's a realtor.
So Chris helped you get a job, and this person was supposed to help you find a place to live.
Have access to plenty of places.
I'm muting myself now.
She knows law enforcement. They have connections. Do you know if Chris has family that works for Sumner County Sheriff?
I've heard that he does.
And do you know that his mom has a friend by the name of Ginger, which is, I guess, a Henderson chief or some kind of lieutenant or something, Henderson Police Department?
I have no idea. I just know Chris grew up in this area. They've been here for a long time. And unfortunately, I'm classified as an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
But my son lived there. He went missing in Sumner County. People may not like me as an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
He's my son. People are going to have to get over certain things because I'm not willing to be over my son just poof, as Chris says, or Houdiniing himself out.
Well, no one wants that.
What was Kathy's demeanor like that morning? Did anybody in the house, when you saw them, appear nervous or out of place or odd, or just maybe they weren't doing anything, but there was just something in you that made you feel out of place or made you feel odd?
Katie seemed to be the only one that was upset, grieving, and maybe would be the word.
So Katie was grieving now. But 2 minutes ago, you said she was shoving a picture in your face. That to me is like aggressiveness, right? But now she's grieving. Okay.
What was she doing?
It could be.
How was she acting? What emotions was she displaying?
Just sitting on the couch crying.
Have you seen
the
her?
initial me coming in and her shoving her phone in my face and all that sort of stuff, then,
Do you feel her behavior was genuine?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay, fair enough. Were you there when Chris approached the law enforcement to get the camper, to get permission to go get the camper?
I was not.
But you heard about it.
Oh, I heard about it.
What day did he leave the very next day, or was it a day or two after?
I do not know.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday while I was there.
Let's say you do know that.
Gotcha. And what did Ellie say at the time you left the Proud Hut home about the status of the case at that time?
When he left?
No,
when you were leaving.
When he probably went to go get the camper and you probably went on your way. Did law enforcement give you an update? That was really early on in the case, obviously much different than where we
After
are now.
Wednesday, my parents showed up from Texas and they were staying over in Goodlettsville at the RV park.
Gotcha.
I told them where I was at, and they knew where I was at, and except for me calling them to find out what was going on, really didn't have much communication with them. I was kicked out of the command center.
What was that about?
I shouldn't be here looking at the computers. I was
You
looking
were
at
crying
them.
too.
And my son's missing. I want to see where you're searching. Why? So I can go search. I gotta stay in my vehicle. I can't get out and go running around.
Mm-hmm.
But I can sure drive around.
Yeah.
I can look. I was told that I'm not supposed to be doing that.
But you did it anyways.
I've never been one, when it comes down to something important, you're going to do what you're going to do.
You're going to do what you got to do.
And there's nothing more important to me than my son.
Right. There was a video that was released by Nick Barris about some light movements on the outside of the home. Did you, and this was added after the fact because one of my mods wanted to ask this. What did LE say about that video? Was the time truly stuck? I guess I've never heard the time being stuck on one specific time. Off, maybe, but stuck.
I mean, when I saw the video that they showed me, it stayed there. It was just stationary at 311.
Do you believe that video was taken later, or you just don't know?
I don't know.
Okay. I've got just a few more questions, and then Tony, obviously, I've got some questions for you, which I've asked a lot of the questions in our downtime. So, but it's been really good. This has been really good. I really do appreciate this. I hope I've been very respectful of you both throughout this process. I wanted to be, I pry, but I understand the situation as well. And it's kind of hard because you're the only person I've had an opportunity to speak with. So I really do apologize that I have to ask you all these questions. But what do you think the most challenging thing for you has been since the disappearance of your son? And I know you're talking about the loneliness, but has there been any other hindrances, resources? There was a time and a place that you actually said that you believe you may know where your son is, but you just don't have the resources to get him. What did you mean by that?
I don't remember stating that. But he's somewhere. When it comes down to resources, it's like I would like to follow every lead possible. I'd like to go down every rabbit hole. And I know I can't do it. Everybody wants to complain about this, complain about that, and it adds stress. And stress is the #1 killer in life. It's not that I'm alone in my house. It's the fact that my son could possibly be somewhere. He's possibly alone. If he was here in my house, he may not be stuck to me. He may be in the living room in the recliner, in his recliner. His recliner. That's his recliner. He chose his recliner. Playing on a Switch, watching, and I could be in my room. I could be in the kitchen, watching my own. It's not about it's about not knowing where he is. Supposed to keep your children safe. Never said I was a perfect parent. I only have one child. It's a learning experience for me every day. But it's been an unending fucking nightmare since I got off of work. The fucking Monday morning to find out that my son is just gone. And knowing that there's 2 other people that are responsible for him. It seems that they're having the fucking grandest time of their goddamn fucking life. Well, I hope they fucking enjoy it. Because I believe in fucking karma. When it comes around, I hope it smacks him in the fucking face. All 3 of us haven't been cleared yet. And I'll tell you right now, it had nothing to do with my son's disappearance.
Seth, my mother-in-law watches this channel. Seth, stop it with the F-bombs. Hey, Haru.
Sumner County should understand that I didn't. I've got records where literally, I've had him enrolled for school. He should be living with me right now.
Could it be possible that your son is a victim of an online predator at all, or they've eliminated that possibility?
I don't know. Talk to Sumner County. Maybe they'll tell you.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you
do with the case and stuff. If it's important to the case, they're not going to tell me. And it's not because I might come tell you all. It's because they keep things close to the chest, which I have learned since this has started. I don't tell anybody shit anymore because there's very few people that I can trust. I mean, literally, what just fucking happened in the last 3 or 4 days is evidence of why I.
Liddy's stream's going to get taken down. That's why, Lisa. If you cuss like that, your stream can get taken down. She could lose her. She's probably lost her monetization off this video with all the times that he's just cussed.
Fucking snakes.
So that's why it's a big deal.
Where I come from, we kill snakes.
That sucks.
We cut their heads off.
Head off the snake.
Skin that bitch, throw it in a skillet, and watch it fucking squirm. Then you eat it with a little salt and pepper and hot sauce.
There you go. I'm going to ask you point blank. Did you have anything to do with your son? The disappearance of your son?
No.
And you have passed a polygraph?
Yep.
If another parent is going through this situation, what would be your best piece of advice for that parent?
That's a good question. That's a great question, Betty.
Find hope and hold on to it. And when you're making a team, don't have a lot of people because there's a lot of trauma vultures out there in this world.
That's not what it was. People were genuinely trying to help you, Seth, and you pushed them out.
A lot of fucking pieces of shit in this world. And You'll find out who your friends are. There's not a playbook for this shit, and each one is different.
I mean, you know things are bad when the TBI has to come out and make a statement that everything that was said is not factual. It's
Sooner or later,
garbage, they said.
even if you're a good-natured person, you have to kick people to the fucking curb. Don't let them tell you what to fucking do. It's your child. If you stop, are you worthy of being their parent? I won't stop.
Well, I just got a few more questions, and it's going to be kind of directed toward Tony. So I've got a few more questions from some subs to you, but I'm just going to let you kind of take a break and get a cigarette and take a breath. So Tony, you've been through quite a lot with Seth throughout this process, and it has very much been challenging. It's been challenging for all of us watching this from an outside looking in. You tell me a little bit about yourself and how you were drawn to this case or Caleb's case. But before you do that, well, and then after that, give us an update on Caleb, because there were some people in the chat that wanted to know what was going on in that case as well. So.
Well, I got involved in Caleb's case because I'm very close to his father, Randy. We work together. We're very close friends. I started, obviously, with passion such as yourself.
Guys, now would be the time. If you guys have any questions, now would be the time to get those in. There's a lot. I'll try to go. Let's see here. So interior cameras. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Just go ahead. All right. I've got a few questions. I'm not going to, you've been here long enough, and I know I did ask for questions before we came live, and my mods did prepare some questions for me to help out. So I will try to grab some of these here. And I think this should be good enough for the questions. So at the end of this sheet here, one of my subscribers, I'm only going to ask a couple of these questions. What size, we were told that you bought Sebastian new boots. Is that correct?
Yeah, I took him to Boot Barn and bought him a pair of hiking boots.
And those boots were at your house?
They're at his mama's house.
And those boots were accounted for?
Yeah, they were at the front door when I walked in.
Okay, and what size is his shoe?
10.5.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that answered that question. Were they there after? Yes, that answered that question. Katie said she bought him 3 pairs of shoes, and she only bought him 3 pairs of shoes. Was that because he didn't like he was very specific on his shoes, or was that a Katie thing?
Probably a Katie thing.
Gotcha. Okay. And did they tell us where the location is? Okay, so I think I got all of those questions. Here's one. Oh, here's one.
Probably had 3 different kinds of shoes. His feet were growing. He probably had boots, sandals of some sort, and like a tennis shoe. I mean, that's what I would be thinking. Or some couple of pairs of tennis shoes. Maybe a boot.
One about Terry Lynn. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. Allegedly, Terry Lynn's tires were slashed while searching. Other searchers have been threatened and pulled out.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea who's behind these scare tactics?
I don't.
Guess what? I'll tell you. Nobody. Okay. They're lying to you.
All right. So now for the moderation questions. I went through them. They look like they were good. I won't take too much. There's just a few more questions here. So I'll try to gloss through them as quickly as I can. What was Sebastian's favorite song?
Well, he didn't really have a favorite song. I mean, we listened to everything. I mean, probably Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down. Gotcha. How was Sebastian with transitioning from activity to activity, from home to outside?
At my house, I mean, we go from the house to the truck. So the transitioning was the drive. Normally that meant, jump in the truck, get our seatbelts on, or whatever we're loading in the truck to go do. And then we listen to music.
Misty
That's
says,
always been one of the things that helps transition.
what is it? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Said that's always been one of the things that helps transition him is music. Even when he was in a bad mood, like he didn't want to go to the store. Well, you don't have a choice today. We're going to the store because got to put groceries in here. You're going to be here for a week. You need to come with me so that you can pick out whatever snacks you want. Do you want sliced ham? Do you want sliced turkey? Do you want Swiss cheese today? Do you want provolone? Whatever.
I heard he was the only one that likes Swiss.
Oh, he got that from me. There's not a cheese that me and him haven't tried that we haven't liked.
I'm a cheesehead too. I gotta be honest with you. I love cheese, Gouda, goat cheese. I like if it's cheese, I like it.
His favorite cheese, his go-to for favorite cheese was always baby Swiss. It's like that big, comes with the little holes and everything else in it. Yeah, that's always been his go-to, is Swiss, and that's why he's always gotten here. And there's nothing like a fried. It's Virginia brand baked ham is his favorite lunch meat to go with his Swiss, and grilled ham and cheese sandwiches were one of his favorite.
You're making me hungry. You're making me hungry. We are foodies over here. We are foodies.
Oh, I didn't get this from nothing. All right, and I don't have a woman cooking for me.
Yeah.
So I've always been the one that cooks anyways. And it's like I was teaching him how to cook. His favorite thing to it's like he likes the grilled
Doesn't have a woman to cook for him.
cheese sandwich, but we take cheddar brats, pack of 5, throw them in the skillet, cook them for about 45 minutes so that they're pretty much look like they just came off the grill.
Mhm.
And then cut them up into pieces, and that's the meat. Then we sit there and we make our spaghetti sauce. And the boy loves mushrooms, raw, cooked, sauteed. It doesn't matter. He loves his mushrooms. And fresh mushrooms, vegetables, tomato paste, some stewed tomatoes, put it all into the pot, just let it cook. And there's our sauce. And then when it comes down to the spaghetti, you know, he likes his fresh grated Parmesan.
You know what? I gotta say, I like his style. What can I say?
You know,
So Missy
Betty,
says,
Betty, I want to make sure before we get out of here that that I make it very clear that we are having good communication with law enforcement now.
good.
You know, I think it's important that we point out that Seth is in a good place with them. We
Mhm.
support them and what they're doing. But I also would like Seth to tell you, because I listened to your show earlier and I listened to some of these theories and some of these ladies that you hooked horns with a little bit regarding their theories. For the longest time, really the only thing that that Seth got from law enforcement was one thing. And what was that one thing, Seth? What was it they told you that is the only communication you got for such a long time?
talking about that you still don't know how he got out of the house.
Correct. How did they phrase that?
There's no evidence he ever left the house.
Then where is he?
Kind of concluded with
It's
everything.
the same thing that they said at the last press conference.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I just like people to understand.
I
being in law
mean,
enforcement.
where can you put a 15-year-old, 5'5", 120 pound that the cops aren't going to find on your 1 acre property and the subdivision that you live in that has a homeowners association to it? Everybody be looking
They
at
don't have to
everybody's
tell us it's a
backyard.
criminal investigation. What they have told us is that it's an investigation. And it's the same thing I've told people close to me. That you'll know if it's a criminal investigation. When they
No
slap
one
them fucking
picked him-
bracelets on your wrist and
No one picked him up and carried him out there. 120 pounds dead weight would be way, way heavy.
you're all
That
fucking
would be a
wearing
lot
for the
of
rest
weight.
of your goddamn life, Bubba gonna like you. And I feel sorry
In
for
my
him every day.
opinion, it would be.
Best bet is just to let my son go. Drop him off at a gas station. Tell him to go in and tell him what your name is. Tell him to call 911. Doesn't matter where you are. It will get to me. And I will be driving to pick him up.
So Misty just wants to say, Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers, your virtual aunties and uncles won't stop until you're found and back home safe with your daddy. Seth, I'm praying for Sebastian and you, sending to you from Arizona.
Thank you, Miss Fisher.
Blame Erica says Seth is a great father. Never doubted that. Mass flyers can be distributed through U.S. Post Fast. We deliver 1,000 or 10,000 flyers in 1 week for $1,000. They should do it for free. You can do batches too. It's legit community help and effort. MK, send me that. Thank you for all you're doing, Team Sebastian.
It's the only team there should be.
Absolutely. You don't want to see me come unglued over that. I already did. If you need to go back, you can go back and look. I actually have
It's
a
not
video
team
that
me. It's not team them. It's team find Sebastian. It's
Absolutely.
Sebastian's army. And Sebastian, his army needs Sebastian. And Sebastian needs the army to find him.
Sebastian's army isn't even out there on the old TikTok. You just got Tony.
What about the chest plate is gone? Mom and Dad step house. Was he still wearing it before he went missing? The chest plate. Apparently, there was a
chest plate.
picture where he had a chest plate on. Can you have anything to say about the chest plate?
He chose to not wear it.
Well, he should have
tried
wore it.
It was like pulling teeth from an alligator. And he chose, he was given the choice. And he
Okay, so the time that he goes to school and he says, "Dad beat my ass," you bring him home and make him watch Mortal Kombat freaking blood scenes. But this happens and it's none the wiser.
chose not to
Don't
wear
get
it. He had a cartilage buildup right here on his chest. That was, it was just, it's part of his CQ20 deletion.
Mhm.
It leads to a lot of facial disfigurement and body disfigurement. And that's just one of the things.
Well, shit, I thought it was just for scoliosis. I need one. I was going to ask if I could get me one, but I'm too old to have.
And when he
I'm
chose
too
not
old
to
to
wear it,
reverse it
then
anyway.
it's a choice you live with.
Mhm.
No matter what we did, I tried to tell him, I was like, it's to help you in the long run. But if you choose not to wear it, it can't make you do something you don't want to do.
Yeah, my parents spent a shit ton of money on hearing aids for me because I'm deaf in my right ear. And this is back in the 80s and 90s. Like, this is expensive stuff. It's like $4,000 or $5,000 for these things, and I literally threw them in a locker and lost them. Oops. But was Katie fully on board with Sebastian coming to live with you
Can't
full
say
time?
I've ever lost my prosthetic.
Something that she was being convinced to do by Chris.
So you think Chris was the driving force behind that? Do you know why?
I have a feeling that this little interview here is all about getting the the light off of Seth, because she hasn't brought up the pew, hasn't brought up the girlfriend, and those are juicy topics. I'm sorry, but they are. We want to know
I
about
don't
it.
know. Animosity, pride, stupid shit.
Do you think he'd care for your son? Or do you not? Well, I probably should answer that maybe. If you want to answer it, answer
No,
it.
no.
Apparently, he was taking care of your kid this whole time.
Julia said she
You
is
were-
not communicating with the family.
If he had such a problem with Katie and Chris, why wasn't Sebastian with him? And not in the school year shit. I'm talking like now. Like, that's what I don't get, and that's what gets me upset. And it would be any of the parents. If any of the parents were acting this way, I would be acting this way, because it's like, what are you saying? You're contradicting yourself every other word.
That she's just going to concentrate.
He
on
didn't have
such
to have
as
any
she
rules
said
at your
she got
house.
sent
He
from
wasn't grounded
Seth
there.
from LE is what's being said.
But
Well, I wasn't
but
informed.
he's saying at the same time he needs structure. That's what I don't get. You know, he's saying he needs structure. Kids need structure. Kids like him need help.
For that. So tell her if she wants to pick up communication with me again. I have his shoes and I have his clothes here in the back.
Julia doesn't want nothing to do with you.
I've got pillows sitting on his bed, got his blankets. And my son. But her not reaching out after being in communication, and then her just sitting there saying that she's searching and she's not telling people where to search. You can come to my house and you can search my house first. Told her that. Told her, come to my house, search my house, bring your dogs, and I got stuff for you for the smell.
Was there? I think we asked this question. Was there a place that Sebastian wanted to go that he may have found a way to get there?
I have no idea.
Do you know of any type of internal cameras ever being at the house of the Proudfoots? Ring doorbell cameras, anything that you've ever seen going there, dropping off, anything that wasn't there the morning that you got there?
Nope, never saw cameras.
What does this say? Can we ask Seth what he saw on the footage of the lights? I think he mentioned at one time that it was a garbage truck. Can he confirm that tonight?
What I was informed of by law enforcement. That's all.
But you didn't see the video?
The video they showed me was of lights and showing me where the floodlights were during the day and where they were at night.
Gotcha. What is the one thing you believe would absolutely bring Sebastian home now?
Can I answer that, Seth?
Sure. Because mine's going to be unethical.
Katie telling the truth. I mean, let's
Oh,
just
no,
face
he
it.
didn't.
You can pick anything that you've got in your life that is a part of your daily routine. Your cell phone, your purse. If it's missing, and you don't know where it is, what do you do?
Right.
Look for it.
Right. You've never seen Katie out there. Nobody in the just to clarify this, and I'm sorry I didn't
I've never
think
seen
about this, but it's
Seth.
kind of weird as
I've never seen it except for the one picture with JLR.
exactly had. Nobody in Katie
Somebody let me know of a clip of him searching, please. Anybody searching. Anybody searching.
and Chris's family was out there.
And not
looking
Terry
for
Lynn
this
searching in her
right?
car.
No.
Nobody, not the cousins, not the aunts, not Aunt Melissa, not Dara,
Not his side of the family.
No. I mean, they could have showed up when we had the volunteers and just handed
family
out
could
flyers
show
to
up
the
too.
volunteers that were going to go hand out flyers.
So nobody from that family did shit. Excuse my language.
No.
How many people are looking on Seth's? How many people has he went through on his team? That's the problems that I have.
Okay. Well, thank you for being
And the
honest.
one thing
And let's
I
ask the
believe that would
questions.
absolutely bring my son home is some good
Pew, pew.
70s detective work.
Shoe leather,
Maybe unethical now, but it sure would work in this case.
a little bit of waterboarding, maybe.
You know, you're not the first person that said that.
I'm telling you, people. I'm barbaric. I mean, I'm a barbaric woman when it comes to the crime and punishments and stuff like that. I'm an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth type of girl. There's no middle of the road.
I was raised Old Testament. In the end, we all are blind and justice is blind.
Mm-hmm. Criminal Gossiper says, what is the whole story behind Sebastian going to live with Seth? Praying for Sebastian would be found safe.
From my point of view, he was a better child. He had more understanding here, which allowed him to relax. It allowed him to develop better. It allowed him to be more open for growth, for growing up. If you keep somebody, it's like having a snake in a cage, and you're feeding it the little bitty pinkies, which are, for some people that don't know, as baby mice. All right, and that's all you're feeding it. It's only going to eat and grow to the size of the cage that it's in. But if you get a bigger cage and you allow it more freedom, it will get bigger. Therefore, it's allowed to grow.
Somebody
Here,
says
he was allowed to grow.
Do you think that Chris and Katie's parenting style was overly strict for your son and your son's disabilities?
Their parenting style was not mine.
You think he thrived better at your home with?
I think he did.
With no rules, no boundaries, and Seth's at work and he's calling and checking in on him.
Something about that sounds like Sebastian was working on being vegetarian. Did he eat meat?
Man, his favorite thing was Virginia baked ham and
Oh, that's right,
bacon.
you did say
I
that.
mean,
He probably had a piece of meat that he didn't like and he wanted to go vegan. I think that's how Katie explained it. I've been like that too. If I eat a piece of fat, I will not eat the rest of my food and I will throw a fit. I will say, I'm going to be a vegetarian.
his best breakfast that he liked was sausage gravy and biscuits and eggs. I mean, he liked tofu too, but that's only when we went out to, to the to the hibachi restaurants. But boy loves California roll. He likes fish. He likes the turkey. He loves salmon. He likes steak, medium rare. I mean, boy,
I like mine still kicking and mooing myself, but I'm from the country. That's how we cook.
And he liked the girl at the Waffle House. That's for sure.
Does she look like Taylor Swift? I'm just asking.
I don't know. I don't watch Taylor Swift, so that's the only thing that me and my son disagreed on. He was a Swiftie, and I'm a Merle Haggard person.
Well, Merle Haggard, I'm sorry, just doesn't look.
Oh, no, we can tell you.
I'm not.
You're not a Merle Haggard person. No, sir. Don't let me get on your YouTube again. We know what you like. David Allan Coe was one of them. We saw some rap on there. We saw Snoop Dogg. Drop It Like It's Hot. That song was on there. Yeah, he likes some music. We saw it. Seth?
Crushing, but I'm sorry, Merle and Taylor. I can kind of see why your boy's got a crush on Taylor.
That up.
Yeah, but I like Merle Haggard's music better than I like.
Oh yeah. I was listening to that. I was in the backwoods of South Carolina and like backwoods, and I was turning that up. Lynetta Lynn. What else was I listening to? I was all old country. I shouldn't call it old country. It's the country that I was raised on, but it's much different. Than
As soon as you call it old country, then you start to realize that you just made yourself sound ancient.
Okay, I'll tell you what he likes real quick. He likes Ed Sheeran, Smoothing Pod Sleep Meditation, 50 Cent, Jerry Reed, I Will Press, Dr. Dre. And his playlists are all here. These are all of his songs. Kid Rock, Brad Paisley, E40, Kenny Chesney. Where's the old school country, buddy? This is an old school country I wouldn't consider, so. I have it all up. We know what you like.
That's okay. I'd say I'm ancient all the time. I'm going blind. So there's that.
And he does have a YouTube channel now.
I stopped counting at 26.
Maybe I should too. Just saying.
Hey, when my insurance rate for my vehicles went down at the age of 26, I stopped counting because the only other time you start counting is when you're 26.
Yep. Well, we're not gonna throw Tony in the antique barn yet, but
no, that's the Antique Roadshow. Thank you.
There you go. The classics. We're just talking about you in front of your face, Tony. Get used to it.
He's used to it.
Yeah, I'm used to it for sure.
Good. Listen, I know I have bit your ears, and my heart goes out to you, Seth. It really does. When I saw everything happening the way it did, it's been very difficult for me as a creator trying to, balance this. But morally, I do have a platform and have a responsibility as well. And the bottom line is I don't think what you're going through right now is fair or reasonable. I think the focus needs to be on the last people that saw your son. And that needs to be our focus. There's a lot there. I know that we're tearing as much as we can tear apart. If I find something, I'm sending it over to Tony to send to you. It's just all of us are just trying to do our part to help find some answers. And it just really kind of.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but the website for that was put on the Facebook page. I called the people that were doing the Facebook page and had them put that on there. And if people are intelligent enough to actually read what it says, it's for texting or the email. But it also has TBI's number on there and Sumner County's number on there. All right.
It's exactly what I thought. We think it is. You can call in tips to Tony and Seth, or you can give them to TBI, but they're saying bring them to us. No, never, not a day in your life should you ever bring a tip to Tony or Seth. You call 1-800-TBI find. You don't go to Google Voice. You don't do that.
And
now you guys are just really getting on my nerves.
If you're calling the number for anonymous, if you read on the bottom, text this number for anonymous. If you don't want to do an anonymous tip, then call TBI in Sumner County. That's why the number is there. I've already spoke with Sumner County.
You could do anonymous under the TBI.
Literally, it was an idea that one of my PIs had. I told them to run with it. They ran with it. So.
Well, there's every PI that I've ever worked with has always prepared a standalone, standardized line for tips. Period. every single one I've, I'm not a internet PI type of chick at all. I don't like internet PIs. I think they bring too much drama. I like personal PIs, boots on the ground, where they're actually private investigators, like public investigators.
Come on, Betty. We know you and JLR broke up.
And so that's kind of where I'm, just at. What was your?
Hey, Seth,
Yes, sir.
I just got a text from somebody in our inner circle. Can you please correct what Sebastian was wearing? There seems to be misinformation about that.
From what I was informed of by his mother, he was wearing like leisure pants, Adidas leisure pants with a stripe down the right hand side on both sides of the out hand side, and he was wearing a long sleeve graphic print shirt.
Not a sweatshirt, right?
Not a sweatshirt, not a hoodie.
Long sleeve shirt.
It's just it was a long sleeve black t-shirt. And I've looked. I have none of the shirts that were mentioned in his closet. Both the Star Wars one that I bought him, the Halloween one that glowed in the dark is gone, and so was his Minecraft one. So it could be any of those three.
Gotcha.
Did he say that those three are gone?
So there were several.
There's one that I bought him, the Halloween one that glowed in his sleeve black t-shirt. And I've looked. I have none of the shirts that were mentioned in his closet. Both the Star Wars one that I bought him, the Halloween one that glowed in the dark is gone, and so was his Minecraft one. So it could be any of those three.
Gotcha. So there were several things missing.
So then Katie would go and look in her closet and see if she had the Minecraft, the Halloween, or the other shirt. And then they would be able to narrow it down from there even more. But maybe the cop said, hey, leave it to these three types because, maybe they just needed them to do that.
Well, they're not
tell
here.
them everything.
And when he would wear clothes here and take them,
I gotcha. Yeah, I know that.
you know how kids are.
Yeah,
I like this. I'm going to wear this to school.
Yeah.
And then I might be lucky to get it back.
So just to clarify, because guidance had another question. So he doesn't wear the chest plate anymore. It's a choice he chose to make, and you weren't paying attention to scratch marks on Chris's arm when he came back. Okay. And then just for Anissa's question is for me, and it says, what was I wanting to accomplish with tonight? And it was bringing this back to Sebastian, talking about Sebastian, learning more questions, getting some answers on a lot of the questions I personally had that I thought maybe you might be able to bring light on. But that's really the purpose of this, was not to be accusatory or anything like that, or to be, come from a place of a narrative. It was just basically to find out truly some information and to let people see Seth for who he is, a grieving father that's really searching for his son, the only fucking parent searching for this boy. His son, Sebastian Wayne Drake
I haven't
Rogers.
seen him.
And so that was really the purpose of
Can we get a live stream going? Because you got a YouTube channel now.
was just to kind of bring it back to you and bring it back to your son.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
He's all that matters.
Yeah, he is. He is. And I just want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart for taking your time. I know personally you did not have to be here and you did not have to speak to me. I don't even want to know what kind of stories you heard about me, but God bless you for at least trusting me enough to, put this show on and try to bring it back to Sebastian. And one last thing, any proof of life video arriving at the home?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, again, I just want to thank you. You guys are more than welcome. You guys
Okay. Thank you, Betty. Let me put her, actually, let me turn my camera on. Let me turn my camera on and let me get her link for y'all, just in case. Actually, let me put this up while I get it because I want his face to be the last thing that we see. This is who matters the most. I'm sorry, Seth maybe come out a little out of pocket tonight, but if that was Chris and Katie sitting up there saying those things, I would be out of pocket with them as well. It just doesn't, some of the stuff doesn't, it reads bad. Now, I don't know why Betty didn't bring up the pew pew or why she didn't bring up the girlfriend deal, because those are pretty big. Those are pretty big, I would think. Things to cover, but yeah, she didn't go over that. But that's okay, Bullhorn. Maybe he'll come on our show. Answer those tough questions. Okay, that's her video if you guys want to look at that after we're done. Or you can go look at it now. You don't have to wait on me. But this is the Amber Alert for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He is missing from Hendersonville, Tennessee. He's 5'5". He's 15 years old. He's 5'5". Brown hair, brown eyes. Weighs about 120 pounds. Looks a little smaller than that to me. He went missing on February 26, 2024 from his mother and his stepdad's home. And we are still looking for him. So if you guys have any information, you can call Sumner County Emergency Communications Department at 615-451-3838, or you can call 1-800-TBI-FIND. So I am baffled too on how much he left out. They left out a lot in that whole interview. So, but we'll go back over that stuff this week. I do want to cover Idaho this week and Madalena Kojikari. I want to cover that. Madalena's case is it's about to get big. I can feel it. If it's not, it's going to be big in my channel because it's a case I really care about. And I think you guys will really be into it and invested in it if you just give me a little bit of time to give you guys the facts of it. So maybe we'll go over that tomorrow or the next day. Her stepdad is on trial right now. So there's a lot of information that's coming out that I can't even comprehend. And I've been covering this case since it happened in November of 2022. So that's something I want to bring to the channel. And then Brian Koberger was back in court. It was a 3.5-hour proceeding. It was it today? Today or yesterday? I can't remember now, but I posted something on the community page about it. I'm not going to stream the whole 3.5 hours because that's just going to be boring for us. So I'm going to try to find clips of the best parts to share with you guys. But thank you guys for being here. Thanks for putting all the little green hearts in the chat. Let me go over to my iPad. I have to do them over here. And we're praying for you, Sebastian. We're praying for you to be safe another night. Come home. It's not as bad as, if you are out there and you're like, it's really bad. I don't want to come home. It's really bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. You can come home. You can always come home. That's the one good thing about having your mother around. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. When you have your mama, you always have that home. You always have that comfort, no matter if your mom lives in a cardboard box. As long as you have like your mom, that's your comfort. So I'm sure that he's wanting his comfort right now, whether that's his dad or his mom or a stuffed animal or whatever it is. But thank you guys all for being here tonight. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. You guys, we went up like 300 subscribers last night. I was like, what? I got off the live, we hit 16,000 and I was like, oh my gosh, I really couldn't believe it. I was going to take a break at 16,000. I keep telling Vincent the next number, but I will one day. But thank you guys all for being here. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow night about the same time for our live, and I will see you guys all soon. Have a good night. Bye, guys.